significantly overestimated the mental health.
Yes,
John,
The,
has bounced it all.
revised.
next after highways, even this, from here to there.
It's supposed to 70.
Yeah.
166.46.
Right.
Good.
We're going to EMS next, 1170.
You guys have your Wi-Fi on, you may have to turn it off with the connection.
That's what it is.
Giving us, you guys want to do that.
That's what the problem is.
Unfortunately, I need 900 on my computer.
Are you thought?
I do not have Wi-Fi.
Then we may have to do without the screen, it's that simple. Of course, we've been doing it all morning.
Yeah.
Tell them one more time, so everybody's 68.
Lost my black pants. All right, we are back from recess. It's 1:40. And we are on to EMS. Let's, Crystal, maybe we should start with revenue real quick. The forecasted revenue in the binder is, $2,653,903. And if I look back on historical, we were 2.8, it's 2.798 and 25 total. I was gonna look back at 26, 24 total as well. We were 2.63 in 2024. Is revenue just conservative here or?
These numbers come off of the DMS revenue in July 1, 26 to December 31, 26. What I've done previously is taken what we did in the beginning of the year,
Just double
and doubled it. So that may be conservative, it may be low, it may be high. I don't think necessarily it's high.
Just, I was gonna say, historically, the last 2 years, we've been,
Yeah, and that's really been the only way that I've been able to come up with a close number. Same way with the safety tax. That's what it was the first 6 months and then doubled. Because of course we don't have a number for that.
well, that number includes the safety tax.
Yes, but it's split out up at the top. Yeah, you're looking at the form, it's split out.
Right.
Chris, does it have anything to do with transports?
I think the transports are down some, but I think also the emergency runs are down some. You know, and that depends on what day of the week it is. Some days we're ridiculously busy and other days we're not, so. It's kind of a hard, like I told somebody, that's, you may put a dark one in one for a dark and. Where it lands is where we're at sometimes.
Do you think economic, like, do you think the public's economic feel, like the way they feel about the economy, do you think that affects calls?
Depending upon.
Do you think they're more conservative or making
On
the
the
call?
class. population class where you're at. We get some calls that there's absolutely no reason for an ambulance, should have never been called.
Do you think that goes down when people are feeling this, financial solution?
Depends on the class.
Could be inverse with that bottom side of it.
There's some people that call no matter what, because that's my transportation. And then there are other people who don't realize what their insurance pays. Say an elderly person who has Medicare and stuff. Their bill's covered, you know, the Medicare's gonna take what they're gonna pay what they pay, they're gonna write off what they write off. And they're 20%, if they pay, well, that's something, it's gonna cover the rest of it. And they don't understand that. But then there's other people who just will call and go by car. Who should have called. But don't. For various reasons. But again. I don't know that. Any group is worse than the other. Like I said, some of them, that's my means of transportation. And to the point that, can you bring me back home when we're done?
That's asked whenever you get there.
Yeah.
That's a legitimate question.
It's not $5, so.
We've had people ask to stop at the drive-through at a convenience. Or at a fast food country now. You know, you didn't really need this trip. If we're asking you to do that, but they have. And again, it's the way of the world now.
What's the way one?
Way of the world.
That's it. See.
How are your collections? Are you have more delinquencies now on billing still?
It's not the same. I think we switched to a different collections agency. Probably 3 years ago, and they seem to be a lot
Pretty
more
effective.
aggressive.
Yeah. Okay.
And I noticed that because we'll put accounts in their system,
Mhm.
and then maybe 2 weeks later, I get a check from that person, or I get a phone call, I need to pay my bill. And we can actually go back into that system and see that the collection agency has called in, and how many attempts they've made. When they contacted what the individual said. I get a lot of disputes on bills. Well, I didn't have that ambulance run, or I didn't get a bill. You know, and I can print off everything that I've sent them, attach that into that system, and then that company's like, well, you did, you signed the insurance form, we can see when you got bills. And a lot of people are making payments to that.
And do you pay them a percentage then? Is that?
We pay them, it costs us $22.50 to put that one run into their system. But that is considered a convenience fee, it's not a service fee. So therefore, that convenience fee can be added back onto their bill. So the ones that we collect for, we get that back. Now, of course, we don't collect for all of them. So there's some that we lose out on that, or we find out later on that they're deceased or something like that, we'll lose out, but. In the past, we did not been able to.
It's good it's good to know you have. That's a good way to go. And are our rates competitive with the counties around us? On runs or
What we charge?
Yeah.
We're probably a little under, and I've talked to commissioners about that.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of self-pay too, and they kind of
You
want
don't want to
to,
squeeze that.
yeah. Because you're only gonna get so much.
Is it probably not proper to have a self-pay rate versus a reimbursable rate?
It's not allowed.
Okay.
By Medicare statutes. I mean, we can't do,
They get the best rate, right? That's just.
yeah. And we do not allow, like if somebody calls a hardship, will you write this off? I don't write them off, but I do allow them to make payments. You know, let's talk about what is acceptable payment for you to make. What can you do in your budget? I got some people that do $5 every couple of weeks. I've got some people who do $10 a month. I've got some people that do 100. And I tell them, as long as you're making an effort to pay us. You know, I want more, but I understand you're on fixed income. I understand you have other bills. I'm gonna work with you. So we don't write that kind of stuff off for that reason. Unfortunately, and then you hate to tell people that, but again, it's a business, so.
How's your number of runs year to year?
Like I said, they're down a little bit. Some of our emergency runs, some of our transports. But we may go 2 or 3 days with just 2 transports and not have an emergency run, but then maybe the day after that, we have 10 emergency runs. So, you know, it all kind of pretty well evens out in the end. And even though our runs are down, our revenue is staying pretty well consistent. It may be down a little bit at times, but then we get a big mark where it's back up.
And looking at the budget. Your estimated revenue, the budget's $440,000 more than estimated revenue. I see that right? That's correct. Right now, your request is 3 million. There are some big dollar items in here, but I don't think it's gonna add up to that total amount. Like the blacktop at Arthur. That's a $55,000 expense that could potentially move to a different.
Is the ambulance still in the budget that you have? In the 1170,
I don't see,
or was it taken out of that?
it's not down in furniture and equipment.
Should be the next line underneath that, if it's there.
I don't have a line under that, furniture and equipment. Okay. No, I do not see an ambulance in the 1170.
Well, and we had talked about it and we talked about taking it out of the 1170, but I didn't know if it was in there when it was printed or if it was printed without it in.
You have one, but it's not in 11.7.
I can tell you transfer wise, we don't turn down a lot. Usually if we get a call, we try to figure out a way to do it. I won't do stuff late at night. Most of the crews have been running through all day long and I'm not gonna run them all that long. That's kind of where I go for a lot.
It's cash balance and,
But again, it's old.
it's cash balance.
We try to do as many as we can to help offset that cost.
I think we have that.
Judy, I got it.
Yeah.
877. 633.06.
877,000 is cash balance.
And that does not include my payment for this month either, because I'm not brought it up yet, which is another 140,000.
Your safety tax revenue is around. That 802 seems light to me, is that?
That is the first 6 months doubled.
The 401 was what you got in the first 6 months? I thought our projected number for lit was higher.
Well, remember it's split.
No, I know. It's kind of just a death by 1,000 cuts on this because everything is just with your costs, it's just. Personnel is obviously the big one, and when it goes up.
a 3% raise in those takes those numbers up significantly.
Need to change that number.
Which one?
I changed it, I need to change the date, the cash balance,
Oh,
you want it,
yeah, what, just big picture, what's
$541,000.
541?
So the number you had was what we started the year with, I think, the eight
Yes, it
seventy-seven. So but that does show we spent the cash down a little bit
Mhm.
since the beginning of the year.
Well, he bought an ambulance.
Yeah, he
But
bought
they
it.
also,
Out of this fund.
yeah. And
We
that
made-
was-
We made a strategic decision to try to buy it here instead of buying it out of CCD or Edit or somewhere else because it was
That
doing well.
makes sense, yeah. And
And
so
that
that,
was held over for those 3 years.
Mhm.
Because we did it
Yeah.
in 20,
and you just got it delivered probably, yeah.
we did it 23 or 24. 23.
That
they
makes
just got
sense.
to it. And that was 200 and almost 220,000.
But even if we would take that 55,000 out for your paving and even put it somewhere else, that's still,
Way short.
yeah. The only thing that concerns me, Chris, is because there's not a bit, there's like, other than that one item, there's not any really big ticket item, and we may have hit a point where we're gonna exceed. Just general operations are gonna exceed
I mean, really, my,
revenue.
the only other thing is the group health insurance.
Yeah,
and
that's
the,
the thing I was on.
and the employees.
On the group health, is it worth looking at moving that into the county?
When we started the fund, the thought was to keep everything here for as long as we could. So that we knew exactly what the EMS cost was, the true EMS cost, including fringe benefits, group health insurance and all of that. And we've made it to this point. Which that was in 16, we did this.
Probably, a long time.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of years since we haven't kicked in any money at all.
Like we did, wasn't it, we did. Was it 50 or 150 to start? And then there was another. 50 or 150 when the cash flow. The revenue wasn't coming in at the right time to meet the demands of the expenses.
Yeah.
It was just off and they put a little bit more in then, but other than that, that's been 42 times.
Yeah.
But anything from the
Well, your public safety lit is gonna go up. We know that it will be about 9% higher. So maybe that's another 70,000 of revenue beyond what you have on the 802. And then we'll probably get a supplemental lit again. You know, we don't like to count on that, but
right.
more than likely we like it.
And if we get to the point where we're not quite accurate here, we are gonna have this automatic reset button that's pressed for us here in a couple of years with the
Change in the.
change in the lit. So we would have the opportunity to reset the rate. I don't know that, I mean, obviously we wanna keep things as
Right.
current, or what's the word I'm looking for? We wanna keep things as low as possible on the tax rate. It needs to cover costs, but I think it's a combination of things. I think it's realizing we may have some more revenue. It's putting capital expenditures somewhere else.
You know, and as we mentioned in the meeting, I have a lot of people who have been here a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, and so your,
You gotta be a-
your longevity.
Not as good as boss.
Well, maybe I need to
I
be
know what they do with
first.
those people at Kim.
Well, but the other thing you have to look at, you can go to any other surrounding county, Doug can tell you, you can go to any other surrounding county and their EMS staffs are not full-time. They have full-time openings. We have not had that. We have been very fortunate. We have not had to fight, claw, do whatever to get trucks covered. We
don't drop trucks.
We have people in our part-time staff right now that want to come full-time if I had them. Which is a good thing. But not everywhere else can say that.
Yeah, always interview something.
Yeah, I don't think. Maybe once or twice we had an opening for a little bit, but it's never been for an extended amount of time. But again, like I said, when you have those people who have been here, I have one who has been here, 25 years, he's the longest.
Didn't you tell me one time? Average is about 10 years in your industry.
7 to 10, and usually people are done by then. But I have at least 5, if not 6, that have been here more than 20 years.
Right.
But that also hurts these numbers to a certain extent.
Miss, where do we compare to other services in wage?
We're lower. Maybe, to be honest, in some places, we may be $8 to $10 lower. But whenever you start figuring insurance, what we're paying versus what they would pay somewhere else, and what the deductibles are, and you figure the perf versus what other retirements are, that's where we make up our difference.
And maybe call volume too.
Call volume, yeah, I mean, other places are busier, but again, other places, they will run you 24/7.
Yeah. And types of calls too.
And you
We have a
don't stop.
little less than maybe some types of calls.
You know, a lot of places, if you get back on our transfer from Indy at 1 AM and there's another one sitting there ready to go, that you're gonna turn around and go right back. Again, you know, we try to pull in as many runs as we can and do as many as we can, but at a certain point, we're done for the day, unless it's not anymore. And I think our crews appreciate that. You know, and I've said in the past, maybe we need to do all that, but then again, that throws a whole nother fog in the wheel, because either Doug or I are always on call, or then we're the ones taking those calls to do it. The calls don't stop. And once
For
they realize,
transfers, for,
yeah, once they realize you take them that late, they're they'll call.
The other morning, I took one at 2 AM, turned around at 3 AM, and called again at 6. Before I even left the house, I called again, and just, it don't stop.
That typically are. Nursing home calling.
No, it's hospitals.
Just to bring people.
On the revenue from transfers, is our charge at our discretion?
It's set by the commissioners, and that's,
It's the same rate as the 911 rate.
it may vary, emergent versus not. The mileage is the same. Mileage,
I'm just looking at the difference between estimated revenue versus budget.
again, Medicaid or Medicare governs it.
and you know, like I think I told you, we
We
talked
can't run
about
that kind of
highway.
deficit.
a few years ago where Medicare required us to do a survey for them on cost analysis revenue. That was a 4-year plan that they put in place that everybody had to report, or you lost 30% of your income, which we reported. And I was hoping that something would come out of that, because it was my understanding they were going to use that to look at, is what we're paying reimbursement wise enough to cover the expense that's there. And again, that was a previous president administration. and things have changed, so I don't know if that report was ever used or ever even looked at.
Somebody just got paid to busy work.
Maybe, it was a lot of busy work. I mean, it took me about 6 months to put it together.
Looks like solid waste just.
So, I understand that in your group insurance is different than the rest of the county.
Our health insurance is exactly the same as everybody else's, it just comes out of my budget.
Well, that's.
Some of the other,
It's
some of the other departments come out of commissioners.
I think
So it would be no
everybody-
cheaper
Not
because it's
quite.
all under the same number.
Almost.
Okay, that's
A
what.
lot of the number of the budget, the amount, we divided with the 22 employees, what that came out to, but per year per
Not
month.
everyone.
I think would be the same.
Took that health insurance.
So-
No one's paid on
That's what's happening. Okay.
health department.
Because for whatever reason, I thought their insurance was separated completely.
No, our auto insurance was,
Oh,
that was what it was. We had a different auto insurance. That's now the same as the county's.
okay.
Is it in your, Jason?
It's a different carrier, but it's through the same.
You don't have it in yours. Your group health is not in your budget. In the commissioners. Yeah, we've been doing that.
It's always for the commissioners. It was the other insurance.
No, the property and casualty got moved last year, because we were having an impossible time getting it sorted out.
Right, I thought maybe it was with them, maybe it'd be less for. Yeah.
Generally speaking. I think that's where I was going a minute ago. I think we got
been since you've increased rates.
2-3 years.
Probably 4 or 5.
I think it's that one.
But even if we increase rates, Medicare has their set allowed,
Yeah,
so.
some of those runs aren't Medicare runs.
Right. But a lot of insurance companies pay off of or just off their Medicare allowance. So we could charge $5,000 for a base rate, but Medicare only pays $250, then the remainder of that is right.
I understand.
And all insurance companies will only pay the $250.
Not all,
That's
some.
yeah, depends on which insurance company. But then your self-payer has to pay. Or you have to write. Can you write off a certain amount and still have the self-payer pay?
That's up to the commissioners. Could it be
But-
done?
But can it be done and still be within the Medicare, Medicaid
It
parameters?
could be done, yes.
If it was done that way each time?
It could be.
So then we're still taking care of the self-payer for their term. Theoretically, not hurting them.
The other thing though is how do you determine who is considered the hardship? You know, hmm?
There's a lot of judgment on
Yeah.
your shoulders.
Because somebody may turn in a hardship that we all, or that you know, is a true hardship. But somebody may not, or somebody may turn one in that it's not. And again, that takes a lot of extra work to
Right,
go determine, and how do I determine?
right. It'd be a whole process.
Yeah.
They'd have to turn in bank records and fill out forms and everything, and have to review, et cetera. Yeah.
And the other thing, we spend a lot of our time, it's not just about that first bill that we said. I spend a lot of time. Follow up. Why wasn't this paid? What do I have to do to get it paid? What document? Well, we didn't get it. Well, I know you got it because I was talking to this person on this day and I faxed it. And she said she had it in her hand. Well, it wasn't submitted. Well, why wasn't it submitted? Well, I can't tell you that, but we'll submit it and then maybe in another 30 or 60 days, we'll have an answer for you. And it's over and over and over and constant. But I mean, Doug can tell you the file cabinet drawer doesn't ever get any smaller. I've got runs all the way back to January that have not been paid, that I'm still working.
You have a software system that's maybe that's designed for that sort of thing that you subscribe to, is that how you?
But everything still has to be manually entered. But again, and again, you take it from our billing, from our chart software. And then put it into the billing software, so it is still,
It can be integrated into it, but the follow-up is personal phone call. There's no, and that's what takes the time. And then we ran out of trucks because we're busy, or we get a multi-casualty incident and we take both of us out, and then we're out for half a day. Well, they took my half a day of making phone calls. Or truck breaks down, or hey, this needs fixed. Can you come work on this kind of thing? No, it's. And that can tell you, you start your day with an idea of what I'm gonna do today.
you begin the day with the same thing that you started the day with, because it'll get done.
To bring this back in, guys. We're. I mean, I do appreciate talking through all the ins and outs of this, but it's a hard question. Is there a place to cut? And I don't see one, not without staff. Unless, or do we transfer health costs somewhere else? Or, I do think we take your blacktopping out and look for a new home for it. But you don't care as long as it finds a place to get paid for it, right? So they have a new station on the south end of the county that was paid for largely from ARPA funds. And so this is
Finish it.
to finish it out.
And 950,000 of the million was paid for with ARPA funds and interest.
It's good.
Yeah, so. That's where we are. Do we look for a way to move group health costs? Or do we, but I do think I think Greg's right, I think you should. I mean, you should revisit the fees probably every 2 years anyway, just to right size them, that way you don't have to be. Big
Well,
adjustment.
like I said, the commissioners, we have had this discussion. And the last time we discussed it, they're like, we're fine with it. But again,
But we were covering costs in those years,
right,
and now we're. Potentially, even if you add 70K to that. Just say we're 2.7. We're still around 300,000 off from covering costs. Am I reading that right? And I do think that revenue estimate may be light. I agree.
and the other thing, I think you guys realize, if there's something else I could do to make this better, we would be doing it.
And it's a catch-22 because we kind of did a proof of concept on adding this third crew with ARPA funds. But if we give up that third crew, then the revenue goes down tremendously because you don't have the volume around, and then you're limited in what you can accept from transfers because
We'll do very few
because you have to have your emergencies covered.
and then that puts Doug and I back on the truck every day.
Yeah. Just want to make, since we're talking through all those details, I can get that out. Make sure Charlie hadn't understood.
Yeah, and I think it does make sense to go back to commissioners and just ask about the rates again, just like John said.
Yeah, if you need us to back you up on that, I mean, I'm sure we
Needs
would do that.
to look at it and, right, there's a little bit there.
Every little bit will help.
Yeah, and just see how this goes next year. Your call volume's down year to date, but that could change quickly.
So, yeah, the other option is that we eat into our surplus and approve it as is and just watch it. Knowing that we have to reset all this rate we have to reset the rate in 2028, we don't have a choice. Greg, I'll pick on you, your thoughts?
Me,
Yeah.
I think we. Look at the rate structure, maybe contact neighboring EMS services, see how we compare. When you see a deficit like this, it's very concerning to me. And I don't know that you can reduce expenses to that degree. You know, if you're trying to balance revenues and expenses, you can't do much with expenses, leaves you.
Just to be clear, that paving number was only for your drive. That doesn't include anything on the fire department property, does it?
No, that includes, for anybody that's been down there, the lot in the front, stopping at the driveway that goes out. It does include a driveway that comes out the back under the highway
You got with an outside contractor,
with the county.
us,
Here's,
That's materials,
that's materials and labor, equipment and labor. Materials just itself, I think was around 34,000.
no, I just, because you have that shared driveway, I just curious.
Yeah.
All right, well, we know there's an issue. I think we should talk to commissioners about the group health piece. Talk about
I'll have something together on the rates by next budget.
about the rates piece of it. But I do think we should lower this building repairs back to 3,000 and take the 52,000 out for now. On the on their paving in line 31,680.
Make it 3,000.
Chris, you might hope too on the number of hours you bill. Maybe a smaller increment than what you think you have to raise the rates. Do a spreadsheet on number of hours that you build out. Small increment in rate may make a big difference.
Well, I know, I can tell you that our rates are above the Medicare allowed. We've never been underneath what they pay,
right,
so,
well, that would be expected.
right. And again, like I said, I was hoping that all that paperwork that you did a few years ago there would be something that comes out of that, because I think us and everybody else, you know, there's no way that what we're providing is what they're covering is providing what we're covering or what we're giving you. But you have to get the government to see that. That's not.
So essentially every Medicare or Medicaid run, you're saying you're going into the red each run.
I don't know if we're going in the red, but we're sure not making anything.
We're not receiving what we bill.
Now, if these people have a supplement, though. If your Medicare will pay $250,
Your Medicare will pay 80%. We'll take care of 80% of the bill. The supplement covers the other 20.
and if they don't have a supplement, then
We bill the patient, yeah. For that.
How much do you actually write off? Quite a bit.
I have to get that number. Probably more than you think, but yeah, we do a lot of facility things too, just that. You know, it pays for it, so.
So Greg, you're actually EMS liaison, right?
Mhm.
You guys care to talk and try to work through and figure out a direction we can go in the next meeting? It'd be great. All right. Then you've got some items in a couple other funds. You've got we have the COTS. This is the final payment on the COTS, correct?
Yes,
And those are put both into seated and into human cap development. So it's $109,000 payment. Cume Cap has been recovering. We did the big computer purchase a couple years ago. When we adopted public safety on the sheriff's side, we kind of quit buying sheriff's cars out of there and put them into public safety. And when is your next forecasted, payment for a vehicle?
For ambulance, well. So if you remember last.
None of them are being delivered this year.
It's the end of 25, I bid 2 trucks. One remount and one new truck. Those came back, one of them came back. To be delivered in the second quarter of 27. And the other one in the first or second quarter of 28. So what I did was put the one for the 27 in this budget. The one for the 28,
Is that in CCD?
yes. The one for the 28, I still have on my desk. My intent was to put it in the 28, but. Should be right above the cots.
It is. What's our revenue gonna be in CCD?
We won't know that until we get the assessed value.
Approximately 294,000.
Okay.
That's there it is.
And that's built on old revenue. Honestly, I think it'll be closer to 316, but that's my guess.
The number for the cots is in 2 funds, right? That looks like the same amount.
Yeah, it's in,
both places.
No, we'll put it in both. We'll take it out of one
Which one? Okay, yes,
Mhm.
make sure.
or a combination thereof.
I'll bring you back next time also, ambulance years and current mileage. So you get that.
Maybe we should take the top payment out of CCD and just leave it in it.
I agree. I'm debating about putting the blacktopping in on the CCD line item. Cause that would be half of that. And that'd take you down closer to the revenue, if the revenue's gonna be over 300.
And be spot on.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
What do you guys think? I want you to get your blacktop. You got a brand new building down there and it's settled. I mean, you need to wait a while and now you have.
It's been almost,
Next year.
almost 2 years.
Next year's the time. I mean, it really is the season to do it. But does anyone object to putting the paving into CCD? That number is 52 or 53, it's 52.
And scratch the large equipment, the cop payment.
Yeah, I'm changing that. I'm just changing that. Can I just change that line item in my notes, Audra? Does that work? Call it EMS
Where do you want the change?
in that 4609? Is that exclusive to COTS or do you need a new line number?
Yeah, I would have to totally.
Be a new line item there, okay. I'm gonna put TBA on mine. And Arthur Station paving.
So you're on what fund even?
in 1138.
There's a, wasn't there, didn't money come out of the CCD for the building other, is that line something they could use? Wasn't that for the 50,000 came from?
I don't know. It was seated or there. Anyway, we can work about the details on that. So 52,000 there, and then we leave the truck payment in edit. Or I'm sorry, cop payment in edit.
You're taking out, you're just making 4609 52 back.
Where you at? Just give us,
Or whatever the new line number would be.
Okay.
give us new numbers, new funds, what are these? 1138, what? What's the account number?
It's 301 is the location, is EMS under.
Yeah. Your account is 44609.
Currently, yeah.
That would put the total spend in the EMS location, the 301, which would be under the revenue.
So you're changing that to 301,000.
301, 169 is my final number there, when you add the truck payment and the paving together.
So you've got that in the vehicle lease then.
I zeroed out that line for now, and I just put TBA on the line number over there to the left, but I did it so I could get a total. Okay.
She can't do that on hers. So that's-
Correct, no, she'll have to redo hers.
So you got a total on in June cap of 353,
No. Oh, overall,
yeah, 353, 169.
well, that's the only thing in CCD right now, isn't it, is EMS? No, it would be, that was the old total.
301, 169.
301, 169 is what I had.
So you took out, okay, there's nothing in large, but, all right.
Yeah, the COTS disappeared. Yeah, then
We expect to get out of those costs.
Probably another,
it was already unseated.
So they'll do, so like with our preventative maintenance program, they'll do a 5-year program and then they'll do another 5-year program. So at least 10, they'll do preventative maintenance on, and then after that, they go yearly. And from talking to the rep, they expect 10 to 12, depending on how abusive we are to them. But with that, I mean, they replace pretty much anything we break on them, so if we get one that gets completely rebuilt, then that one may last another 10 years longer, so.
Regardless.
I would expect him, I mean, that's a safe number, but
I didn't. Get a pay for and start over again.
yeah,
That's
no,
what I did.
no, they're built fairly decent, and I think we should get quite a few years out of them, so.
that's something that's not talked about, that will need to be replaced sometimes is the cardiac monitors. Because they are, they're going on 8 or 9 years old. And that's about the time we start having a lot of problems with the roads. I mean, they're not cheap goods. It's not uncommon to get a $5,000 to $8,000 bill repaired.
That's not on any of our future radars that we just did.
It was on the, capital,
The fine, so that is that.
I have one more account, the 1225.
Yeah, the CPR one is just $1,000, and that's self-support. Anything else for Chris? Okay. Thank you. You guys got the toughest job so far. In many ways. All right. Sheriff 1, Sheriff 2. Not sure which one's which. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, general. Starting in the general fund. Forgot what was in this too. For 4 years.
Yeah.
So go ahead and, anything you want to note, Jason, before we start through?
Really, this budget was pretty much covered, for the sheriff side. Pretty much the same as what we did last year. The only changes that we across was we had the, increase in, medical and our food. For the jail, I guess. For the sheriff's, the city increase was, with our new insurance now, it's mandated that, any new hire has to go through a psych eval. So we had to create a line item for that, Judy did. And we put in, money for that. We created a line item for increased juvenile transports.
The psych eval is that, is $750, is that the cost of one evaluation?
Yes, I mean, it depends on where you go, but that's gonna be close to.
But that's that's not for multiple, that's a placeholder in case you have a new hire.
Right.
And with that jail position here, would you required to get that?
What's that now?
For the extra security here? For
So
the jail position, would they be required to go through that?
that would not be a requirement, that is just for a full-time merit position. Yeah. They are only required merit positions to have a psych eval.
And that position's under the public safety tax,
For the new position.
or be under the jail position, it'd be under jail.
We added, like I said, we added the $2,000 travel expense for juvenile transports because it's a burden to keep doing it. sure we've talked to your son about the juvenile place. I do think that that's gonna happen, so. That might be something that, now that's not saying that we don't still have to run up way up north. To keep doing that, if we have somebody up there, but hopefully that money is not used very often.
Yeah, what Jason's talking about, they're pretty optimistic. The Vincent's location
Yes,
has a buyer.
yes.
So they allegedly have a,
That, or the recent development I had.
Yeah, we had there's a new company actually taken over from the previous one that said they was gonna renovate. We took it over last week and they've done a lot of work on the inside of that building. They stuck a lot of money into it.
So it started, it is.
Yes, yeah, it's well on their way. He's looking hopefully by the end of the year, maybe to at least hold juvenile pensions.
Do you know how many positions or how many spots?
They can hold up to 200 kids.
Will Vanderbilt chew any of that up?
Probably a little bit, because I mean, they're always full of YCC down at Vandenberg, but.
Yes.
I mean, it's gonna be a free for all. We asked the question, what kind of expense that's gonna be. He would not give us he knows that that's a high demand right now, and they can charge whatever they want. So he wouldn't give us a total cost on what that would be. But that being said, it's not 2.5 to 5 hours away either, so.
Okay, yeah, when you put the pencil to it.
Yeah.
Sending somebody 6 to 8 hours.
Yeah, round trip.
Right.
Compared to 30 minute.
And the ripple effect that that creates as well.
Yeah.
remind me what we use that juvenile transport line item for. Is that for like gas and expenses that you incur while you're on the road? Is
That's a
it?
new position, right? And then a new position, Judy? Is that a new line item for that transport?
No,
Yeah.
well, we had $500 in it before it's placeholder.
Yeah, so before we had the $500, that's for food expenses, whatever. it might be.
So incidental expenses related to the
Right,
travel.
yes, for that transport.
We don't pay salary or anything like that out of there. That's.
No. And I'll be honest, with you, it's easier for me to buy a McDonald's cheeseburger and fries out of my pocket and have to keep receipts and do that way. So that's what I've always done. So.
We're probably appreciative of that too.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, because some of them have had McDonald's for a long time.
So, okay, and then the obvious situation we have here too is you had zeroed out the detective line item in.
We zeroed that out, barring that, we didn't know where that position was gonna be moved to. So that would, if that stays the way it is, then that would have to go back in the budget, which would it be go back out of? I think, what was that in?
It was equivalent to a sergeant rate, right?
Yeah, it was a sergeant pay, and did that come out of, I think it was out of our list, was that on our?
No, it's all-
It's in here.
Was it out of the general?
Mm-hmm. I think just the road deputies are on
Out of the list. So it would have to come back into this.
It's line 10255.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's down in the. It's like 4 lines from the bottom.
Yeah.
For some reason.
What's that?
Is it?
Oh.
His holiday is included in the holiday.
Okay. Yeah, we've taken everything out. Right, so you get that into the holiday and everything.
How much was that, Audra? You know,
Assuming the salary would be the 63,850 with that plus 3%.
Okay, 65, 7, 70?
So 65.8 is how we would put it on here.
It should be the same that's in the prosecutor, which is 65,7.
65,750. And then what, how holidays you counted every one?
Right, I would have.
Last year, I mean, not too long ago, we came back and did an increase in vehicle repairs. Is that in here? Is that in?
It's in here. It's already,
Equipment repair, there we
it's
go.
already bumped up.
Yeah, we, 2026. I think we asked for 40, ended up getting 20, this year we bumped it up to 50.
It would be 5,348 for his holiday.
5340.
5310.
Add to the holiday payroll.
Five, three, four, oh.
5310.48. That's a good one, is
We don't get it. So 5311, round it up.
That's
67.7.
I rounded up to nearest 100.
67,700, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting that the holiday pay works out pretty well, the pay of another kid. Is there anything on here that you're looking like you're gonna be still light on for this year?
Now, I think really the only thing was the equipment repair. Just trying to keep every vehicle we have running, that's the biggest part.
And 60,000 on the vehicle lease purchase is enough to get 2 more cars coming. Just one.
So that's
Just
one. So that's, 60,000 for, the sheriff's vehicle. And then we have,
That's for a new SUV for you as the new sheriff.
and then we have another vehicle, that we put in for the safety tax and that's trying to come out of that
Patrol
for
vehicle.
a road deputy. To replace one. We've got 4 cars right now. We've got a 2000, we have a 2014 Charger, a 27 Charger, a 2019 Charger, and we have a 2020 Durango. 2020 Durango, that's our paper service guy. He's got 150,000 miles on that Durango right now. Constantly putting money into 2014 Charger is the one that's sitting out here at the house. Still running and gets him back and forth to work, but eventually it's gonna have to be replaced. The 2019 Charger, we got them, what, 100 and something, almost 100,000.
Yeah, that's sitting in the shop right now because it threw two fans through the radiator.
So, now we've got 4 vehicles that we have that we utilize that has 100 some odd thousand miles on it, plus trying to keep them going. Keep up with our trend, the 2 vehicles every year, and trying to keep. Our
In
guy,
order to keep the rotation approximately fitted, you need 2 a year.
The second you stop, we get a problem where we have.
yeah, when we stop, then we get the problem like we did 2 years ago. where-
Then all of a sudden you got to replace 4 or 5 of them.
Yes,
Well, and your delivery is at a year and a half.
yeah, we ordered the last ones last year, we ordered, 2 new vehicles last year off this year's budget, and we ordered in October after the budget cleared. We still have no idea when they're gonna come in. So,
So we're not quite to a year yet.
we're not quite to a year, but we're getting close.
By the time you get them equipped.
Yeah, time we get them in and get them to the shop, get the equipment in them, then it's probably gonna be over a year.
That's to get the vehicle with the police package or
Yeah, so they're set at pursuit radio.
beyond what somebody would buy it.
Yes, yeah, these vehicles they're pursuit rated, so they've done where they're set up to be wired in, with the wiring and everything. A lot of theirs just getting the radios, getting the lights, getting everything mounted, getting everything installed in.
So what's the vehicle of choice now? The Charger's gone away.
The Chargers are gone away. Durangos, I'll be honest with you, I'd never buy another Durango for this county ever again. We've spent so much money trying to keep them things on the road, it's unbelievable. Every one of them, we've had all of our new ones, we've had in the shop for months of time trying to get it fixed. So we went to, the Ford Interceptors, that's what most of the guys are going to. Still a lot of Tahoes out there, a lot of guys are using Tahoes, they are more expensive. But they are probably the best you could buy, but the Interceptor is a good patrol vehicle. And then we have the new, Ford F-150. I know some of the guys, counties around us had purchased them. I talked to them, and that's what we ordered this year. We have a F-150 pickup truck and an Interceptor ordered. We're just waiting on them to get here.
Is the Interceptor a SUV?
It's an SUV. Yeah.
A little bit smaller than the Durango though.
Yeah, it's a little bit smaller than the Durango, but, as of right now, we've not had any issues whatsoever with it.
That being Explorer, so they'll use very similar.
Yes, yeah, it's almost like the Explorer. Yeah.
I've seen some, yeah.
They're great in the winter time, stuff like that, so, where the Chargers were nice, and it's one of those nice outside 2-wheel drive Chargers, when you get snow on the ground.
That was full days all-wheel drive then.
Trying to get developing,
Or all-wheel drive then.
yeah,
Yeah, and honestly, in Pike County, as far as many back roads we have and the condition of some of those roads. You know, in the springtime or whatever, you almost have to have an SUV type vehicle.
Yeah. and then we looked at.
Is there still a Ram option on the trucks?
Is there a Ram option on truck?
They do have a Ram now, so they didn't come out with that until after we purchased the F-150, I believe. They did come out with a Ram, a 1500 Ram with the police option. So that could be something that we looked, if he wants to look into it for next year before we order them, that he could do that too, but. I think it's a 2,500.
So
It's 2,500.
this is a loaded question. We got away from it. We used to look at, it used to be there, when we were doing 2 a year, a lot of times one would come out of budget, one would come out of commissary.
Right.
Are you anywhere close to a point there?
No, in commissary?
Yeah.
I know, I mean, our numbers right now are down in the two. A lot because Vanderburgh County is they've slacked on giving anybody any inmates. So commissary is just really low. That being said, we've taken advantage of it.
We took a hit too when we contracted it, right? I mean,
Right.
there's benefits to that too, because you don't have to manage it
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
go to Sam's Club once a week and.
Yeah, but we've taken full advantage of. Since they did slow down and we could jockey guys and inmates and females around, and so we started doing updates on the jail as far as the painting and the keep and. That jail had been painted and I don't know, Brian. Has it ever been painted like we've done in the
It's shiny.
No.
I haven't been in. It's shiny.
Yeah, I mean, it looks really, really good. I mean, like I said, they've done a really good job on doing it and. Like I said, we are we're not making the money what we were on holding inmates, but we're taking advantage of not having the
They've
number.
done a lot of updates.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, it may still be lipstick on a pig according to JK.
But it looks a lot better, yeah. Now, that being said, also the lighting, we went through and redone all the LED lighting, so hopefully we see a savings on that as well when it comes down to it, you know. But we've done a ton of work on the inside of that facility to make it look.
Is that coming out of the jail budget for that?
Yeah, that comes out of the jail budget, we budgeted for cars, yeah. And we just kind of been doing a little at a time, making sure we don't overspend it, we're just trying to get it. Keep on track on what we're doing, so.
You said this vehicle that you're wanting is pursuit ready. Correct.
For me, yes, I won't give them, it's not,
Okay, good.
good. Set yourself up for liability if something happens.
Yeah, I mean, everything that we buy really should be pursuit rated, because if you get in a pursuit and something happens and.
Well, and just flexibility of being able to rotate the
Yes,
vehicles and
Yeah.
everything.
I mean, we've had vehicles go down and I've been blessed that they'll come to my house and grab my SUV in the middle of the night and take it. And not have to worry about it because it's set up for a deputy to be able to drive, so.
Are we done with general then? Can we move to jail?
Do you probably 889,000 total?
I do.
Jail's going 282.
The only thing, the uniform clothing allowance is the reason that was cut.
For the sheriff's side,
Was that because of the deputy or the detective?
What?
Good catch.
Then 402, yeah, 10,402.
Yeah, it's the same budget as last year. They're both 13.3. They spent more this year, but the budget was 13.
The budget was the same.
Pardon?
Oh. Gotcha. It was, never mind.
yeah,
I was looking at the wrong line.
I don't think we cut it.
Got it. We cut it. Last year.
Now, and I'll be honest with you, that the clothing announcement, when we switched from the class A's and the pins and all the shiny bells and whistles and all that stuff, went to a more common uniform like this right here. It, to get outfitted was a cost, but, the wear and tear on these uniforms here, they can walk through a side on the interstate and not worry about having to get their pants replaced because sticker push. So,
So they held up well.
oh gosh, yeah, and they're nice in the summertime, they're thinner. You have to layer it up in the wintertime a little bit, but in the summertime, they're a lot cooler. And like I said, most departments have all went away from the class A's and went to the working person uniform.
And was there anything else that, I didn't see anything. That's a good catch though. Okay, so gone to jail.
So on the jail, I'll let, right off the bat, I mean, we have a request to, move our jail officers. Right now, they're working 40 hours a week. We have an 8-hour shift built in. And it's a total nightmare for scheduling. So we've asked to bump that up to all 12s. And I'll let Brian explain. I'll let Brian explain some of that, why because he has to deal with the scheduling.
What's the jail account number? I don't know if there's a misprint or a missticker.
Yeah, they put me in the circuit court.
Yes,
I saw it, and I can't find it.
It's in general
Jail.
0380.
Great, yeah.
Okay, 0380, there's a misprint on this, one.
Basically, we've been trying to run with an 80-hour schedule, one, and then a 12-hour schedule, work schedule, which we ran with 1 8-hour shift per pay period for each employee. And what we've come across, we were used to filling that 8 hours. We had a part-time employee who was filling part of that. And then my assistant commander was filling part of that 8-hour period. As the auditor's office can attest, we have a heck of a time hanging on part-time employees. Just getting someone that's willing to do that. I don't know how many people poor auditors onboarded for us. And we had a gentleman who had retired from full-time with us, went to part-time and was filling a lot of those shifts. He's 75 years old this year, and he had said he wanted to retire fully at that time. Well, we're having trouble getting and retaining our part-time people to fill those shifts. Also, we ran into some issues with our sex offender program as far as monitoring and tracking those folks. We were doing that, as probably remember, we gave a small amount of portion to an employee to do that on the side along with their regular duties. We ended up reducing the budget on that earlier this year and doing away with that position. Because my assistant commander took over, managed the sex offenders. Frankly, we were not doing a good job tracking them, staying on top of their registrations and such. It's just a lot more than what somebody can do along with a full-time job. We weren't doing an adequate job. If there's some place you want to do an adequate job, it's obviously keeping track of things like that. Which happy to report we've turned that around, and we have one of the best rates in the state as far as checking on our offenders, knowing where our offenders are, making sure they're not where they're not supposed to be, and all of that. That being said, though, that's taking a significant portion of his time away from being able to do other things, such as help cover some of those open shifts and a few of the other administrative things that he was doing to assist me. So we're just running into the issue of trying to fill those shifts. So the two ways I saw that were feasible to do that were to either increase all of our employees to working 12 hours, which would give them an additional 4 hours per pay period, to where they'd be working 84 instead of 80 hours, with the 4 hours of overtime bi-weekly, or would be to look at additional personnel. The additional 4 hours was much more monetary sense to cover it that way. Yes, Sean.
How many total full-time jailers are there right now?
There are 12 that work the rotation, and there's myself and the assistant commander. So that's, if you include me and him, that's 14. There's 12 that work the schedule.
And would you guys be moving to that 12-hour shift as well?
No, we're not included in that. We would still be 80-hour employees.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Brian, but so the number in last year was 417,000 for the 12.
Yeah, there, note that in that, there is the one position for the, up here at the courthouse is in
Right, and
that.
then in this year's, in the 523, that is with 12-hour shifts.
And that
with
additional
one new
person for the
position for
courthouse.
here.
No.
Well, you have correctional sergeants too. They're in the shift rotation.
So we're using modern.
So in the 144, it's got 80 hours for 26 days, and that doesn't include your correctional sergeants.
Right.
$523,850, and that's 80,000. So is that 4 hours in the overtime?
There's the money to pay that 4 hours overtime is in the-
Not in the actual.
not in the line items, no, that was put into the overtime. It wasn't put into the pay. No, it wasn't. Because it was overtime, that's where it was budgeted.
So there are 10 full-time jailers in the rotation plus 2
Well,
correctional sergeants in the
Plus the
rotation.
2 sergeants that's in the rotation.
So there's 12 total people,
Correct.
10 and 2.
Correct, correct.
And then if we add the courthouse
He would
position,
not be in that.
he would be a 40 hour.
40 hours.
Yeah, so courthouse is open 30. Well, no, because you got lunch hours in there too that. So
The
that's a 40, this is a 40-hour week position with here.
Right. Because it's open 8 to 4.
Okay, there's maybe some details to look at there with the 31 courthouse. How do you do it for Torrin now?
He has 40 hours.
He's a straight 40.
Is the matron in that 12?
No,
That's a separate line item.
that's a whole other ballgame.
Sorry, no, I'm just trying to work through my.
No, I understand. There's several moving factors actually in that. I understand. But that's where that came from, and what I looked at, to my belief, was the cheapest financial way to accommodate covering those hours.
And dispatch works 12s.
Okay.
Deputies work 12s. You guys are the oddballs that you don't work.
Well, we do, but we don't pay the, we do that odd pay thing. Right. It would put ours the same as what the officers are doing, basically.
We have some that will leave at 10 o'clock at night. Have to be back at 6 in the morning. On their rotation.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the convenience factor, but yeah, fact is just having someone to work that position. I mean, and trying to cover some of them has actually created worse situations by full-time covering and taking it for comp, and then that leads to covering that later. I just don't have enough part-time hours at any time to cover everything. By covering the PTO stuff and all that, and to cover those shifts, I just don't have it. I had a gentleman I hired just the other day, and prior CO experience. He agreed to come on board part-time. And before he worked his first training shift for us, he got a full-time job. I mean, they're just, if you've got anywhere near the qualifications, you can get the job. I mean, you can look on the Facebook thing or whatever all the time, Gibson, Knox, Davies, like everybody's always looking. So I mean, you can't get quality part-time people because there's too many full-time jobs out there for them if they want it. I mean, you're fighting that pool, and not exactly like everybody wants to do that particular job either, so. If you do and you have skill set for it, you're in pretty high demand. I will say, since last pay adjustment, I have gotten more and better applicants in for full-time positions when those have come available. And we've had a lot better luck with what we're getting for applicants and such for those positions. We're more on line with others, but the part-time, I just can't come up with them enough to cover what needs to be covered.
That being said too, I mean, we have increased the amount of duties that our jail staff has to do. With the RISE program that we started, they are constantly in and out of their cell blocks, going in and out of classrooms. Always have to be monitored, MRT classes is another one. The anger management classes is another class. Then we have our church programs from Mondays and Thursdays and then women's on Fridays. So, I mean, it's not like they're just sitting in the cell and all you do is watch the cameras. They're constantly going back and forth, getting inmates, getting them out, getting them class, getting them nurse. So, I mean, there's constant rotation, moving around, most of the 12-hour or 8-hour shifts that they're working, so. You know, we've added a lot in that facility and it shows.
I think we are starting to see a decrease in some of our recidivism because of programming, training that we've made available to our inmates, as opposed to just sitting there doing time also. But you're right, it requires a lot more on our staffing side too to make all those things happen and come together. Seems like there's always more work and more things come down the path.
You ever thought about working 7 days a week?
I've considered it. And then I keep remembering this is year number 32, going on 33 for me.
You need to finish with the bang.
Yeah. The wife insists that I be home some, not necessarily to see, but I've got.
To do your list.
You're a young kid compared to some of us.
So
There's days I don't feel the facts, I'm gonna tell you.
just to summarize, this is a structural change. It's a big request to change to this structure. But you feel the way it's currently operating, it's just not working.
It doesn't work, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, because basically right now, I mean, there's just no work at hand. I mean, it pulls me out of my duties. As far as managing everything, I do things on both the sheriff and the jail side. As far as, managing of the sheriff's sales, the tax warrants. And I can only be in one place at a time. I mean, I realize I'm a sizable fellow, but unfortunately can't split it in two. I can't be working on those kind of things and sitting in the control room, doing that. So, I mean, I'm trying to fix the problem, the best way I know how. Now, if somebody has better suggestions or ways to do it, I'm certainly open, but I tried to keep
I know it's been talked about before.
expense as low as I could in the ask, by not moving anybody onto that schedule we didn't have to have on it. And not asking for additional people, because I know you end up getting into benefits, God knows what on that big number. So I tried to stay using what I had. Obviously, there is an increase in the expense in it though. But I do feel like that we're getting to the point where it's going to be a necessity. I really do.
There's a glimmer of hope that the structured in overtime would reduce maybe the extra call out overtime.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a big change. Is there any benefit to splitting that security position out into its own line item? I mean, from auditor's perspective. because that's an 8-hour position, that potentially is here, is there any benefit to separating that out into its own line item? Not necessarily.
The only other thing is was gonna ask Judy, the holiday. Are you gonna utilize that employee on the holidays? Cause usually the courthouse is closed on holidays.
Yeah.
There's time that,
But that'd be,
there's a holiday built
I
into the
would
holiday.
see a need. That'd be a good question. Yeah.
If I did the courthouse jailer, is he going to work the holidays or is he still going to pay his name and
That's what we need for that position, yeah, we have holiday.
That'd be a perk of this position is to get those holidays on. And you wouldn't pay for it.
And holiday pay.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. It is.
So you can decrease the holiday line.
Okay, can you, we don't have to do it right now, but we'll make a note of that. You can get us a number on that.
3785.04,
That's a lot of numbers.
$3,785.04.
3,785.04.
He doesn't want to believe, say.
No, I just now understand what, so
$785.04.
okay. So we can reduce it by 3785.
You know, they get, they get, which comes out of the commissioners, the group health insurance comes out of the commissioners. FICA and comes out of the commissioners. I don't think it really matters where.
62,603. Do we want to round that number?
The only other thing, and Christie would have to go on that, is workers' comp. I don't know if it would change how you report them on workers' comp and if it would lower it or increase it. But I don't know how that works.
That number was an odd number, a detailed number in the holiday line item. It like ended in 88. Do we normally round those two or?
It was, if you add everybody up that's on the 144, she actually cut it by 54 cents. But that's considering everybody's gonna work that holiday, so it's already kind of. But that's why everybody did it, so. She rounded down.
So 60. I'm gonna change it to 62,605.
62,605.
Keep it on at least $5. Or do you say I could round down more?
Okay, so we take.
Double check it, Audrey, and get us a good number for that.
So. 62,603.50.
62,6. Yeah, I wasn't gonna, but 350.
I just take it to 62,605.
62,605.
Everything else is in as much as possible in sequences. Multiples.
So I can.
This change in structure, how many, is that gonna increase your paid lunches,
On what?
the hours?
What about the hours?
Does your staff get paid lunches now
No.
on the 8-hour shift?
They work.
I mean, they eat their sandwich while they're working or whatever they do.
So it's gonna stay the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't change. All right. So just to summarize on jail, the biggest things are the addition of a new position. The going to 12-hour shifts, which that changes the salary line item and the overtime line. Anything else of? There's the healthcare contract, of course, you said went up.
Yeah, healthcare on that. And,
Contract.
Through the project.
Just a little.
Just like you're saying, but other than that, that's all we had for it. Everything else is pretty much the.
Healthcare's, so that was 5%. And then the meds are on top of that. Why not?
Which one?
The. I found it. Are you pleased with both of those contracts?
Absolutely. Once we switched our medical from the 1 to 3 Cs that we have right now, it's been night and day. We actually, we get the coverage that we're paying for. And, I had no problems whatsoever with it.
I've been very pleased with the medical contract changeover. Had a lot more communication from the corporately and making sure that we have our personnel what we're supposed to.
Right, 5
Okay.
has to be in that
And I'm not gonna,
number we just threw on.
it saves trips to the ER. A bunch, the trips to the ER.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. All right, let's keep accident reports, firearms training, misdemeanor, sex violence. Those are all pretty straight forward. Were there any? Those are all kind of driven by
Yeah,
revenues.
It's straightforward, what we've always.
It had to be that one, Judy, that. It had to be on the holiday.
62,605.
Okay. Well, we gotta look for something that ends in a
3.
3. You may have a formula problem.
I got the same formula you do. You said it was 1708. 105.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Did
yeah,
you get there? All right.
I think you just had to be reminded of it, right?
Is there anything on those others, Jason, to note?
No, I didn't, there's nothing, that's the only other ones that I had. And then
Are we ready to go to public safety then? $49.50. So we had a 60,000 number in the. General, we have 57.7 here. I don't know that.
So the 57, as you come out of the vehicle.
Yeah, 75.
So on the 57.7, that would be, I think that's the cost of the new Tahoe. I think the 60 was the new.
Interceptor.
Ford Interceptor. Yeah. Now that Ford Interceptor comes forward with more. It's pursuit rated, but it's a quick,
Fitted.
yeah, because it's the deputies.
So there's additional upfitting costs on the Tahoe, this is just the base vehicle.
Yeah.
But that's something you'd look for other places. That's something you need to have in here, or the upfitting, or you find that.
It was in the sheriff's budget, wasn't it? Something for that.
It didn't say that, it might be that.
Yeah, so yeah, the $3,000 less at one park and is listed for the new sheriff's vehicle, so he's not requesting an in-car camera. In his vehicle.
So that's a significant add-on to the.
Oh, in-car cameras, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, so 78,000, let's see. That's for the detective's position. It might be all less than.
Let's see, if they're about $8,000 for those in cars.
Now, that being said, they're worth their weight of gold when you're working the road. Having footage of a pursuit or having footage of a interaction on wherever you're at on a traffic stop, having in-car cameras is, you can't put a price on it. I know
Is that an optional thing or a requirement?
it's not a requirement, but.
Really good idea.
Liability wise, it's
Oh,
built.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we.
Unless you.
Yeah,
Well, decision.
In most cases.
for incorrect accusations.
Yes.
As long as you do everything right, it's going.
Yes.
Sorry, no, not that anyone would not, I shouldn't joke that. So I look at the total revenue, again, it's it's that same number as EMS. So the forecast. We think we're going to be around. 870 total, so we're probably in balance here.
You done close with it.
Yeah. And that's a level overtime request, but last year, we're optimistic we're gonna hit that. So that's, realize that's a new sheriff question,
Yeah.
but that was intentional to keep it at the level amount of last year's request,
What's that now?
the overtime. You asked for next year exactly what you asked for.
Yes, I mean, yeah,
I said to leave it the same way it was, and I'm addressed it with something to see.
Alright. Anything else for Jason? Jason, do you have anything else for us? Okay. So Brian, you're still up here. Anything on LAPC?
same budget as last year, I believe, and I gave, we probably won't near spend that much. A lot of ours hinges with LAPC on, if the fire departments take advantage of building hazmat training and such, we can pay for that. One thing we can, obviously, but that's one thing we can't pay for. And it's a standing offer for them. So if they take advantage of it, they'll spend a fair bit of money. If they don't, we don't have that many expenses. Like, you don't use it, we don't usually just spend, but we are fortunate in Pike County that our LAPC actually has money. A lot of counties don't, so we've also, last couple of years, I'll say, we've partnered with AES on our required state exercise, and we've really had no cost come from doing our annual exercise. In the past, getting a company to do that, put that on, has cost us anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. That's where a lot of counties spend a lot of their money. We've been partnering with AES and it's some of their requirements and goals. And but there just hasn't been that cost. They have some personnel and expertise that help defer that, and I've learned how to write after action plans and things that I never thought I would know anything about. So we just really haven't had the expense, so I guess we shouldn't complain about it.
Yeah, so you're sitting on 90. At your beginning of the year, I don't have the current, but you were setting on, it's at around $100,000.
Yeah, I'd say.
Then your budget
we're still
20s.
Virtually the same. I've had very, very few.
Yeah.
Expenditures and all, so. Like I said, that can change in the future. Depending on what their capabilities are and interest, but as of now, I mean, LAPC's got money and we probably are gonna be spending, so
And you have to spend it for specifics.
very specific things. So if those things aren't needed, that's just the way it is. I always feel bad, I almost feel like I should apologize for not spending money, I mean.
You just hand me your wallet and
I know there's plenty of places that it can be used, but unfortunately, it's not allowed per se. But if you don't have any other questions on that, I mean, it's what it is.
Yes, they have some that they
Right.
didn't budget.
Perfect.
Ancillary program.
Well, let's get done with our emergency folks and get Kyler up here. Are you okay if we keep going? Does anybody else? I was gonna take a break after Kyler.
appreciate it. Running through.
Go for it. Hi,
Hi.
you all right after
Yeah.
this last week?
Yeah.
Just for 302.
All right, Kyler.
Could have
Start.
been worse. Could have been a lot worse.
Start with EMA.
Yeah.
Blue.
Believe the start of this year, we did receive more reimbursement from the state for my salary. On that, but I think it was previous was 18,500 or 18,000 and now it's 23,500. Believe.
I'm staying 22.5, but I may be wrong.
I think that's correct on that.
And Chris is still your deputy.
Right. Still on good?
And move his group health over here, take it out of EMA.
I did ask for equipment line item. I mean, and what this is for maintenance I do on sirens, wherever else I work on. This was just, for me to purchase tools. Right now, I just been using my own tools, but you guys, it really doesn't matter to me much. I can still see using mine. So I just do that in there. We did add a line item this week for maintenance contracts. And it's for my printer at EMA, has through Xerox, and it has a ink subscription. And I try to pay that out of operating supplies, but it needs to come out of maintenance contracts. So I was gonna see if then we could, on the printing and advertising, I believe there is 1,500 on that. I was gonna see if we can put 500, take that down to 1,000 and put 500 into the maintenance contract instead. So not adding anything to the overall number, but just
You're in regular EMA, right?
correct.
Printing and advertising, you're only showing
Or
two.
250, yeah, 250, sorry.
Oh, she's
Sorry,
already
looking
done
at the
that.
wrong one.
So move the 250 to maintenance contract.
Right, because the printing and advertising, I believe it's just kind of knickknacks you hand out and
So you're,
I have clogged.
so you're zeroing that line?
Yeah,
Okay,
Now you've spent 228.
yeah, I bought some stuff this year but I don't need any more next year.
okay. And we're gonna increase maintenance contracts. Is 250?
Yes.
Is that really it on here?
Yes,
Siren's doing all right.
yes,
You were correct, his income's 23.5.
135.
His 33.8 is back in state. You feel that?
Okay, these are in order on our sheet, so let's go to, let's go to, the straight under that is the E911 county dispatch, and then we'll do the statewide 911.
Okay. The dispatch wise, just did the standard wage. The 3%, like everybody else did. No new positions. Nothing new on it.
System IDAX, is that new?
So we added that last year, so we were supposed to have an assistant IDAX coordinator, and we never did, we only had the river one, so. And so what we did is made and the coordinator was just a line item in itself with the full salary of that dispatcher into it. What we decided to do last year is just make it into a stipend. So it's up in the, so they had regular dispatcher pay, then have stipend for those extra duties on that. So we have the one for the coordinator and then one for the assistant.
And when you have a stipend like that, does that play into the incentive pay? So that's just a standalone and doesn't affect their incentive pay.
Okay,
I'm
so do we?
asking these guys.
It's just, it follows the employee that may take the position.
Incentive just be tied to their base salary.
Said no new dispatchers,
Correct, no new positions, Betty.
your budget went from 324 to 380.
So reason being, because last year when we filled out the 144 forms. We had a miscalculation in the Excel sheet, and if you guys remember,
We had to,
we were, yeah, so we'll do appropriation, probably next month for that to get get that completed.
I remember that.
Yeah, I think so.
So that's why that made that increase.
I didn't remember it till you just said it, yeah.
The dispatchers is that,
So it's 8 full-time
yeah,
dispatchers.
that's what's in that line,
Yes.
that's a.
Your staff has stabilized a lot,
Yes.
and you think it's a 12-hour shift?
I mean, that's what our shifts were there way before me. But I think having an unstable director helped stabilize everybody.
Didn't know you're stable.
Cause I've noticed definitely.
It's a Randy joke. Okay. We ready for statewide?
So biggest thing I was asking for is increase in the computer upgrade supplies, so we need to update our mapping server computer. Monday's been on to me this past year, and I told my mom waiting for budget time. And we do need to upgrade one of the dispatching computers. However, looking at their quotes, I can wait the dispatching computer till 2028. Cause we do have that upgrade to Windows 11 and everything, but the mapping server is definitely one I'm gonna take care of this year, or this next year. Because that total cost was, for that mapping server was $43.25. So I just wanna do that one.
That's in the computer
Sure, upgrade supply.
upgrades, and then. How is that funding stream looking?
Same, it did change. The state or the 911 state board is to try and get some increase, but they're, right now, nothing's like it, so.
I think that's what we've seen is it's pretty flat.
Yeah,
We're lucky to hang on with
right.
Ben.
I didn't notice that until right now, but you will need not to take a computer out of supplies. You'll need to move that to computer technology and
Do I
upgrade
have a
the
line item
computer.
for that?
Yes, we have a line. You don't have it, but we can put that in.
Where's,
State wouldn't quite let that be supplies. Or wouldn't want it to be,
Computer upgrade,
right? He needs a new one, it says.
What would be considered computer upgrade then?
Adding a new disk or
wouldn't that be hardware, wouldn't that be in the hardware software line item?
depending
Changed all
on,
those numbers last, or.
yeah, we changed all those and sent those out. We just, I missed it when this came through, but.
Okay.
But that's an easy, do it now, and then you don't have to do a transfer.
Calculator? You guys just kind of tell me what.
She's usually right.
Like you're.
One of the things we had noticed that we hadn't noticed before is that we had been paying for what Misty explained it, we had been paying for supplies. And it was actually, a vendor should have been on a 1099.
So
Do
some of the numbers, like if it starts with a 2, those aren't coded to be for people, for businesses or people to get like a 1099. So that's one reason why some of the numbers have changed, trying to clean that stuff up.
I just missed that.
All right. Real quick, do you want to give us a super quick update on storm?
Tornadoes and there. And, so we had 6, what's considered destroyed homes. I think 7 major damage, 22 affected, I think we had 6 minor. I know, I remember people destroyed a major part. It was very fortunate, it wasn't worse. I mean, really, our debris was tree debris. So that made cleanup a lot easier, and we didn't have to sort it out or anything like that. All agencies had a great response. I mean, we were done by, people were going home by 8 o'clock. So, tornado came through it, that was really impressive, I thought. Centerpoint did a great job of getting power back on. Power was on to the majority of the residents by 10 p.m. that night, which is great.
Thought it might be days.
Yeah. No, overall, everybody responded, did really well. Said, so Thursday, Friday did damage assessments, Friday met with the National Weather Service, took them along, it was really nice, so we had a city map, and we were able to dot all the homes on that, so then when National Weather Service got there, they looked at the map and said, well, that's easy, it just shows the direct path. And then we took it and, so they could see firsthand everything, and they was able to make their determination pretty quickly. It all went really nice.
And you said we should get some money back.
Well, we tried to.
That was fun. Thanks, Karen. Thanks for Kyler. If not, I'm gonna take just a couple minutes break. As soon as you guys can get back, please get back. Sorry, Alan, you gotta take a quick break. Yeah, we're within 10 minutes of catching up with ourselves, so I'd hate to catch up. I'd hate to get back out of it. Brandon, are you today? No. Okay.
He's learning.
I always say that.
How are you staying awake?
Usually about 25. And it is, but.
I used to, I mean, 4 or 5 hours usually my back. That's not good. So I aggravated that.
Judy, I was gonna add, I'm gonna add that, his budget, we should probably add, 407 for the infrastructure also, should think, like, for, he has to get batteries and.
Well, if you wanna move it, go ahead. If you put dollars in it, we're not leaving any.
No, I'm not, I'm just saying, like, he's gonna have to have, it if he needs any numbers.
Right, but we're not putting any zeros in the budget to upload. That's the problem, uploading it and like zeros.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So if you got money to put into it, yes.
Okay. I'll just set it up in the financial and
Then he can get it when he needs it, we know.
I can add it to the budget later.
Yeah.
78936.
Yeah, I hope we can upload. We're gonna find that out shortly.
I think I got yours for 5. Non-property capital, that's the small. Yeah. Yep. The hell. We use some. Yeah, Nels mentioned
Oh.
and see if I can. Because they had that gate that. Get behind on. So there's any vote down.
See what you got, is that in this minority? The max levy. didn't you?
Yeah, look at that, so that's.
Yeah, but I just wonder if you've heard anything.
Well, and then I looked at it, nothing was there.
Oh, that's it.
That's,
Especially.
it's,
You're
but
counting on me.
it's on, it's in my, I don't know what happened. But I definitely got it in my notes.
This is one of the best prepared binders I've seen.
Well, thank you.
And I've seen them.
Yeah, don't give her a big head.
I know, that's all we can take.
I already got a meeting. I'm counting the days.
She's on the way out. Audrey, you got big shoes to fill.
Oh,
But that's it, here, if you guys want to swap that around.
oh, you put it, you already added it to it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where am I looking? Let's see.
That's-
Yeah.
I had told Greg.
Yeah.
Oh, see, aggravating. See, I usually work with 3 screens.
Yeah, I know, and then when you get to one laptop, it's
Dang. it.
taking a step back in time.
But I had told her
You can try.
all this
Try getting
stuff.
the words out.
I can give you guys easy access to this, through
Yeah.
screen there, because I do this all the time from home.
That's what I thought.
And
What's your company?
Ekman Net. And Lap, this is Lap, yeah. And so I operate from home a lot,
Oh, that's really good.
you know, days you don't.
Your job doesn't stop at the.
No, you know. Okay, you're looking for budget.
You did a very good job catching up after being 2 hours behind.
We can. Go through, county commissioners at the very end. And a lot of their things, we kind of caught up through everything else and kind of realized it's double stated anyways.
Yeah.
Kind of work through everybody's artist.
Yeah, yeah.
949-127. This is our mental health, I don't know where you
Yeah.
added that in.
We did, I had that same piece of me.
I think, as I said, that 294,072 is low. Because normally I use this year's NAV on that,
On the CCD.
right, and so I come up with about 316. I definitely think we should.
Well, on CCD, yeah.
Right,
I still don't know that it would, it still wouldn't have been enough to cover both of them, so.
I mean, but. There's some issues. 110,000.
right, yeah, we've got money left in.
Like that pay bill. If you want to say. Let's figure it out since CCD plus. Say, well.
You know, so that's not a terrible idea since we didn't have the most previous process. That's a great point.
But we got that money and I, like I said, that'll be more, I'm confident. It will.
Christian, when you get a chance. We're gonna do paving now. You want to additional? Yeah. Do additional? Well, I'm thinking out loud, thinking we didn't get all the community crossings money this year.
Oh, that's.
We have lighter paving roads going out of that hole. It's probably something, I mean, it's probably something to talk about.
I think yesterday we did.
That's a deal right there.
Yeah, those probably not. Yeah, we're still live, aren't we, Audra? Yeah.
Just think about it.
He brings us every year. And since he brings us, I went and grabbed his copy. You grab one, and he says, yeah, I can grab one of that cross. I'll take a waiver. Now, the gun new this year. That's just looking at the, so the guns, normally always brings those minutes, but.
Yeah, I don't get
Yeah, so at least he never laid down, hey, no, we didn't, so. Yeah. You know. Or we're going out, what is it? To say that. I'd be more sick.
Yeah, no, actually, it's on the case of this hot. So what you're saying? I don't, sometimes I do that much when I'm up there. If I get up, I'm gonna use it. That's definitely not.
No, she's got that pad. If we want to, we can change that line.
Everything down with.
I think I know how to conserve them.
Probably very appropriate. That's probably very appropriate.
So what is that number?
405.
I think so. I think so. Does Shirley run the senior center?
4,500?
She the main go-to.
We have to do the best.
And
Well, for
it's
here. I mean,
We don't have a bid.
I think she has.
He said, I don't know.
Oh, the same family
He
services.
said, this wasn't great.
and what it's called.
Computer.
You got it. Alan, you ready?
Computer technology for
Computer and technology.
owner than, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I bring up, can't really. But now the ones that are.
And did you change it already in the Laos?
I changed the amount.
Thanks for spending the day with us, Carmen.
Yes,
Yeah.
This is.
that's the whole 5,000.
It's the.
Yeah. Here, wait a minute, let's change all of our. Let Audra get it done in Laos.
I did.
Greg, you ready?
Copied it, pasted it, so that way.
All right, recesses, we'll be back from recess and go to the clerk. Starting with your general fund and then the perpetuation fund and election.
one.
No major changes, just the postage was the biggest increase.
You have a bunch of new mandatory billing officials.
What's that?
Mandatory things you had to bill, you had to mail for.
Yeah, we have a lot of things for just mail certified mail.
Yeah, postage is re-rolled in the general, and
Yeah. I also increased it slightly in the election fund,
okay,
but that's later.
so we can, yeah, we can go, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we can move on to your perpetuation.
11, what, 91?
1119. Just the SBS portals.
And that's level.
Yep, it's a annual fee, comes out in July.
So you get around 12 grand a year in revenue, looks like.
And 1119.
Pretty healthy balance in there.
Yeah, not much expenditure out of that. Unless we do a standard project again, which since we have SBS portals, I wouldn't plan on doing it again soon. Making use of the portal there.
And. And then election,
Yeah, I had to budget for an election. There's a chance of there being a municipal election next year for Petersburg if there's any contested races. Otherwise, it's been barely anything out of there. There is a increase on service fees for microvote and node. Two companies we use for our poll pads and voting machines. And then the biggest, of course, most noticeable thing is the request for $132,000 and account 4,500 for new voting pads. The talking part.
what is a panel?
And so the panel is like, whenever you go to vote, it's the actual machine itself, we call them voting panels. So whenever you go up to vote, it's a giant gray box, and then there's the screen and buttons. The screen with the buttons is the panel.
Thank you.
How long will they good for? I don't know a lifespan expectancy. The machines we currently have, we had them for 18 years. We got them in 2008, 2009.
Really?
I could not believe that, but yeah. I think the machines themselves, they made that model 25 years ago. The newer ones, I asked them, you know, there's a lot hidden that we don't see that they've upgraded. But what the main things were, obviously they come with a better screen. If you go to vote now,
you'll notice the screen, it's a gray background, black lettering. And depending on your lighting, it can be hard to see. We have an issue with that with older voters as well. Just not being able to see what you voted for. We're on the new ones. It's a colored screen, everything's highlighted with the background, and whenever you select something, it actually highlights it green. So you know you selected, and this, the coloring is a lot bolder, so you can read it in any lighting. They mentioned the security protocols of the new machines are upgraded. They use a Windows security protocol that the older machines that are 25 years old did not have. It allows them to have every single component in that machine to be protected by a different and more complex password.
And these also have the paper tape background, are okay.
Yes, we still use the VVPAT, the black box that's standing next to each machine. We still use those.
That'd be new as well, so that'd be.
That'll be the same machine, no, those are fairly new.
Other insert.
It's just the actual voting panel itself that you input your vote on, that we also use to retract the votes at the end of the day. We talked with the election board about the number of machines that we need. Right now, we have 47 voting machines. We talked about going down to 43. That would leave us about, if we were in a maximum capacity election, like a presidential election, and we saw the need to have 10 machines at every single voting location, that'd be 30, and then 4 in the clerk's office, 5 out of satellite locations, there's 39 right there. So if we were to go down to 43 machines, that would leave us 4 spares for new machines. Microvote company also said that they could, whenever they go through our old ones, if we wanted them to, they could look at the machines that look like they have the best life ahead of them still, ones that can hold on, and we can keep them as spares also in case of an emergency or something. Since we're going down from 47 to 43, which save $11,200. They offer a 2-year payment plan instead of paying it all in a lump sum. They want the first 60% in year 1 and then 40% year 2. But obviously we don't have at the election fund as it is enough to pay for it in 2-year plan.
Is there an extra charge to do that?
No extra fee or anything, just split 60/40.
So am I understanding correctly, they take our existing boxes, replace the guts, and make it the new box?
Yeah, the actual carrying box, that'll stay the same. The voting machine inside, they'll recycle those. And then they'll retrofit the new ones into the boxes. They designed them with these new things in mind.
If we were cutting out 4 of the old ones that are the least reliable but are still working, we're gonna hang on to them just in case, or no?
They mentioned hanging on to a few of the old ones instead of recycling them. They go through, I don't know, if we really even need to do that. Because on a regular election year, I think we would be left over with 10 spare machines, and those, we'll set up 3 of those to be ready to go on election day in case of an emergency. Now on a presidential election, at Winslow and Petersburg, we would have 10 machines each because it's a busier election. We would have 8 machines at Otwell. We could go 10 if there was a population increase out towards Otwell, or a surge in voters we see throughout the year, but otherwise right now Otwell has less machines on election day than the other 2 locations do.
Something you mentioned when we talked about it the other day that I thought was interesting was that some of these machines are dedicated for the remote vote. It's different, which I didn't know. You might like everybody else about that, that they're machines that for the courthouse and for voting early and all that.
Yeah, so the early voting machines, we have our ones in the clerk's offices, of course, we're required to have those. And then we have separate machines, the same machine, but we have those 4 in our clerk's office is what we usually do. And then we'll have 4 or 5 that go out to satellite locations on those Tuesdays. That go to Union, Spurgeon, Stendal, wherever. Also the Winslow, they're there the 2 Saturdays before the election. Those machines, so those 9 in this instance, those 8 or 9, are programmed differently for that election. as opposed to the election day machines. Because they have to have a ballot retraction, method available to where if a voter was to pass away before election day, state law says that vote has to be recalled and retracted out. So those machines wouldn't be able to be used on election day, so that's why. Early voting needs this many machines, election day needs these different machines.
When do you have to put your order in on them?
So that's one thing that we've talked about with the auditor's office, and I've gone to microvote multiple times about it, just to make sure. The invoice, the most recent invoice that I have is May 18th. And they all say good for 60 days, but I've talked to them, since our county only needs, I mean, it's 43 machines. But in reality, a lot of counties use a lot more machines than that, so they said that that's nothing for them to hold on to, they can hold on to it and keep it at that price for us. If we go through with it this year. I try to get an idea of a estimated price increase of the parts, because that was one thing that we talked about this a year or two ago too. About the possible increase of the components in it, and it did go up over time, but as of right now, this invoice will be up to date.
You've searched all of the competition.
So no, Microvote does it's a DRE machine, direct reporting. So there's a couple other voting machine contractors or vendors in the state. Microvote has like, I want to say 50 to 60 counties, because what they have is so good. It's a panel. The votes are kept only in that panel. They don't leave it until the end of the day. We stick a card in there. The votes are transferred over to that card, and then from there it's tallied up from that card in the office. There's no room for human error with the system like that. And of course, before the election, the state randomly selects machines to make sure that they are accurate.
Would the other companies even mess with our current boxes?
No, we would have to.
We would have to completely reinvest instead of update.
Right, so that would have to make it more expensive, I would think, but
It would be, also, I mean,
wouldn't hurt to check though.
I think that it would be, yeah,
It's.
I think part of the reason that they're even holding on, to the current invoice is because of the rapport that's been built over previous clerks. It's just it's been a big help. They've been a big help to us. We've been a good customer to them. And I think that the relationship that's been built, is a good thing also. The customer service has always been amazing. Any question I have, they're always able to help.
If you bought this system and 5 or 10 years, it's still working well, but you need 5 more machines,
Mhm.
10 more machines, population increases, whatever. You think that's a possibility?
Yeah, they would totally be able to go to the manufacturer. I wouldn't think they would come out with a new, because the hope is that the machine they have now is good enough to last decades, like the previous one did.
Yeah.
So I would say that if their manufacturer would continue to produce the same machine if they have hopes of continuing to grow their client base.
That's why I was suggesting holding the 4 that we weren't going to update. In case we needed.
Yeah, holding a few of the old ones.
Just because essentially
Yeah.
we're just holding a skeleton to put a heart in it, right?
Well, yes, I see what you mean. If we did get rid of the old, if we decided not to keep any of the machines, we would keep the boxes still. No matter what, yes.
Because then it's like one guy dropped, one guy ran over,
Parts or anything like that.
whatever,
Mhm.
the
We had an issue with one last year where,
leak and it got destroyed by rain. Or.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, we had an issue last year with this primary, with one of the boxes having a malfunction to where the lake stopped working, it broke off. And they came down, the next week and fixed the lake for us, so no fee or anything. That's what we paid for. Yep. They're out of Indianapolis, yep.
Will this get you ready for the presidential election then, or do you think you'll need more equipment?
No, luckily, I don't think the machines we have will be in the general election this year. We wouldn't get these until next year. And we would implement them before the Petersburg municipal election. Granted, it would only be 10, 15 machines if we have an election.
They can have it done in time for that primary.
Yeah, I believe they already have the machines. They're holding on to them. Like I said, other counties use a substantial amount of machines compared to what we do.
So we're a little job.
We are a little. I follow some other clerk's offices on Facebook and they post their early voting locations and there's 20 places on there and we've got 4 or 5, so the luxury of being small in that aspect, I guess.
I have to say, I'm proud of the fact that people who would vote here in Pike County, they were seeing the line for a while. So when you see this stuff on TV, with the line for 2 hours, you know, I think we do it right.
As long as people keep voting.
Yeah.
Vice Chairman, you're in charge.
I don't have anything else.
Make a motion.
Yeah. All right.
I heard that.
Nothing changed on what he submitted right now, correct?
You're too young to remember.
Have we decided on?
Chad paper ballots, don't you?
Yeah, never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
For a while. Go, find a video and that's for the Florida presidential election.
Yeah, but if I can, I think.
His 12-15, you know, is running. Could you vote? You kept it down.
Was ours before, in 2000, you were born in.
What we'll probably have to do is move some property tax levy over to that fund.
That's what I was wondering about, since the money's not there now.
Please proceed.
Okay,
We did.
so that's what we'll have to do though.
Me.
There's not enough money in that fund without getting some more
Right.
revenue.
Yes, yeah, and that's how it's funded, so.
So,
That was gonna be my next question, but you
yeah,
took care of it.
yeah, so that fund is under our maximum property tax levy, so. That's one set amount, we can move a little bit out of, really, probably the general fund into the. And we've done that in the past, so like in 2024, there was no property taxes in this fund. This year, we've got some of it, so it's kind of as elections occur, we've got.
Yeah. It would be nice if, we could get Petersburg on a even number election year.
Yeah.
There's been talk about
Try. I don't know when it did too, but. Yeah. I did.
So is there, I guess the last thing maybe is there any reason not to pay it over 2 years if it's basically an interest-free loan?
No, yeah, no, I don't, the county would decide to do it, it's just, it's straightforward, it's 60% and then 40%, I mean, and I asked the word, I mean, I can get that in writing before the actual budget hearing, we need that, that's the road we do.
There's no discount to pay 100%.
Yeah, that's,
I don't think so, no.
because that's what's in the budget we've got is 100% at 27. Right, is that, make sure we're on the same.
Well. Actually, here. Right now, the cash balance is $130,000 almost. But if you take out next year's budget, but add in the estimated $20,000 we get from the levy tax for the second half of the year. We'll have about $70,000 left over.
So, and this purchase is 132,000.
Originally it was 132, but then we knocked it down by 4 panels to $120,827. It wasn't updated on this.
And that's the full
That was-
100%. No, that's not a 60%.
That total, that's the total. So 60% of that would be 72,000.
72,496.
Yep.
And they're good with doing the 60%.
60/40.
And so 60% and 27, 40 and 20.
Yeah, and if, like I said, if we need to get that, of course, we would want to get that in writing, force the contract. If I can do it before the hearing.
Not to split it,
Is that,
be foolish not to split it.
Yes.
In 2 years.
then I can get that in writing then.
Did you have before the next?
I'll do it before the hearing, whatever that is.
So we have a solid number on what the 60% is for sure.
Yes,
72,496.
Is that before or after the four machines are done?
Not the after.
that's after, yeah.
So 62,
72,500.
Yeah.
Rounded up.
That seems to me the way to go.
62,496.
Yes, plus some change, so
You said 70.
72,496.
72,496, yeah. Only
Once we have 2 years. Wait, no interest.
Seems like a lot of money, but you have to, you gotta stay out of it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
The old
because-
people,
I
right?
can't believe we're that old.
Well, yes, that's,
We just start using them.
I mean, people having an issue seeing the panel shouldn't be a problem at all, so. Of course, it's a 20-year-old machine, that will be upgraded now.
So do you get a total, what's your total cost then?
After I divided or took away those 4 machines, the total would be $120,827.77. And even if the machine recycling fee is 91 cents, so it's not worth deducting that from the estimated, because we don't know how many machines we're gonna save.
120,800.
120,827. That's
They don't get
100%, yeah.
obligated to pay for 60%.
Which is a 72,496.
Yeah.
So that makes the total budget for them 151,331.
What was your number, 151?
331.
What would you change, Judy? What would you-
The computer and technology purchase to 72,496.
Which is 450 or 432.5,
500.
72.5. Rounded.
Oh, you rounded.
Rounded to,
Would ever take money from them.
So that makes it 151,335.
yeah.
Everything. They got enough money down. Great.
Thank you.
Sorry, I had to step away out.
Sure. Have a good day.
County auditor. You gonna stay here? You wanna move out there?
You tell me.
She can't take her computer with her.
I gotta see some. I don't want, Audrey and I are gonna kind of piggyback on each other, if that's all right. The auditor position. She's starting out at what would be higher than if you were bringing in, because she's got some incentive. And you guys better say thank God that she's been around that many years. Because got a lot ahead of her. Let's see. chief deputy. She,
Part of that is, the new chief deputy has a higher incentive than what the current chief deputy has, so that increased it. Plus, there is some PTO payout that can comp payout for whenever the new auditor goes into the position. There's not enough time to use the time. And so then there's that amount.
and we kind of wondered what your thought was there. Whatever it is, it can't be changed, so I think it'd be better to pay it in this year, 2026, like we do all payouts. It might end up being an additional, but that way we can pay it out, and then it would not come out of next year's budget. But that's your decision.
Need to wait down to the end. You don't know exactly what our balance might be.
Could, right,
I mean,
but we can't wait too long.
Yeah, you'd be better off to go ahead and do the additional and then
Yeah,
just
save
save,
a big enough addition.
and then just save the money. If you don't spend it, you don't, we can handle it.
Right, it's safe.
Not spend, it's not spent.
Yeah.
well, you hope or know that appropriate the money, but don't spend it until.
Well, right, we wouldn't have to spend it. One thing about,
You're gonna spend what you have to spend. Whatever that amount, that payout amount is what the bill's gonna be. You have to spend it one way or the other.
in 10-131 deputy. Fellas,
So Judy, before we move off that, is everybody okay with doing that in calendar year 26? So I think that would be cleaner.
You're clean.
Or.
so we had to figure out what comes out of there. You wanna do that now?
Separately, as if.
We're talking in the chief deputy line, right?
5223,
So it should be 46650 would be what would take to pay the new chief deputy for the year.
so
466.
$46,650.
I believe her.
and that's at 3%, of course.
Right.
Okay. Down to the deputy line. You see $500 increase on base pay? We are losing people. This is the second person I've trained for the assessor's office. And they get a $500 incentive. And gentlemen, they don't do anything like the work that the staff does. And I just would like for you to consider giving them that $500 incentive that people in the in the assessor's office gets. Because they definitely earn it. And I know that plus the deadlines that we have every month. I know that's why Nancy's leaving. I mean, she's been very plain about it. Make more money, do less work. Go home at 4 o'clock without feeling guilty is the way she puts it. So, did I say anything different? So I really do feel like they train, we go to conferences, we train, we go to other auditors' offices to see how we can do it and how to do it smarter. And they need a certain.
We will have more of these. These are types of requests tomorrow. The court has a request for pay differential. Prosecutor has a request for pay differential for 4D. Those are repeats of, that is a repeat of one we received last year that we did not approve. I'm correct on that, right?
And in his position, so the actual prosecutor's position too.
From the county's portion.
Yes, Just on the equipment he bought. He bought a bunch of Mac equipment for his office when he invited you. I didn't realize that it had been until just recently. And he is eligible for up to the same amount of incentive as the judge is eligible for.
It hasn't been,
Oh, the judge takes it, yeah, he has 5,000, and he has not been taking it, no. He's not been,
so where I'm going with this, a couple years ago, we went through a process, it's been, well, probably longer than that. Probably 4 years ago, we went through a process to change the elected officials. Structure here inside the building. For the elected office holders, the full-time elected office holders. To try to take into account the differentials in the job duties and the work they did, you remember they were all the same. But we didn't change anything on the deputy positions, they all remained the same. And as Judy's pointed out, she talked to me as her liaison. Statutorily, there's this $500 bonus that the assessor employees get that we're obligated to pay. So it actually elevates them to where they're the highest incentivized base pay for deputies in the courthouse goes to that assessor's office.
How come the assessor gets that?
statutory. Happened before I got here,
Don't they have? You don't, that's.
yeah, there's another level, there's,
And based on what level they are, but the base level's the 500, right?
The next level is 500 and then the level after that's 1,000.
Yeah.
Is that where they?
Yeah, what level assessor they're certified.
They get a higher certification.
Yeah.
They bump another 1,000.
I think level 3 is the highest, maybe.
Mhm. Yeah.
that's correct.
So. We're gonna keep getting these requests. The judge has been pretty, and we'll talk again with him in the morning, but the judge has been pretty animate comparing our court staff to other court staffs in county around us. And talking about how we potentially could lose people. I know county employees don't get what they deserve in so many ways. In some ways, they get good benefits, but in some ways, they, you know. Sometimes that salary is important too, and it's hard to overlook that for some of the other things that we do get. I'm just struggling with how we address this, comprehensively. I mean, if we chase these individual requests, I think we're setting ourselves up for a revolving door that never stops, right? As soon as somebody gets something, then somebody else is gonna want something, we're gonna be back to this.
Yeah, I think we need to take time and do it somewhat consistent with some type of plan, or no, we got everything going everywhere.
I agree wholeheartedly with what she's saying. But how do we do it? And,
I agree.
Come up with a plan tonight, Max, and report in the morning.
No, give me 6 o'clock.
Hey, we want you to do a PowerPoint.
Ask me, you get Clerk right now, so I can get started.
Emmy's gonna have a lot of work to do tonight, guys.
And Willis is gonna be my assistant.
Well, but one thought I had is do you tie it to the differentials that we established with with whatever the differences are between the office holders, if there's a. I mean, I need to look at how that would work, but
That's the same.
we've established a precedent. And I think the office holder.
And weight the deputies accordingly.
Yeah, and I still think the office holders are underpaid. But that doesn't fix her problem because the assessor and the auditor are both at the top tier. So there would still be that incentive on top of that. You got any thoughts as consultant?
I think that the auditor's deputies should be the same as the assessor. So if the statute's requiring the extra pay to the assessor, the auditor, that's a rationale to give them that bump, because Judy's got the experience of it's happened twice. So it's definitely a factor that's playing into this that, and it's unfortunate that the statute's requiring that of the assessor, because otherwise you wouldn't have done it, I'm sure.
Where's the assessor's deputy going? Just happens to be
Retired.
retired. Yeah, so every time they have one that retires.
They come right out of his office, yeah, that's.
So the assessor just put a help one in us in front of your door.
Well,
They just take up
actually,
lunch and they-
she didn't ask him, he asked her.
Is a good closer.
You know, I mean, from, if what I'm told is true, and I have no way of knowing, because I wasn't there. But the duties of the auditor's office since 2020 have done nothing but escalate. And I joke you not, they are all having mass people leave, auditors leaving all over the state. You really need to be proud of your group because we've stuck it out. It's been a year from hell. And I'm sorry, I know I'm on the,
It has been, and then you add to that,
But you'll be done at the end of the year, you're not.
then you add to that abatements, TIF districts. All of these,
A lot of extra things.
all of these moving parts that weren't 10, 15 years ago, we didn't have in process.
sorry.
You're gonna get our account taken down. Council needs yours.
Now, you're the highest paid of your group.
Me?
No,
Oh,
Pike County Council is the highest paid of the group.
wow.
That was interesting to me.
Compared
That's,
compared to other counties.
yes,
And our commissioners
Yeah.
are probably underpaid compared to a lot of them.
I think that's true. I didn't say it was right, and I'm not complaining, I'm just stating facts.
Okay,
Well, I'll say this, I've been here a long time, and the time involved with being a county councilman, there's absolutely zero comparison to 18 years ago
That's,
with the time involved.
I don't doubt that.
So much more now.
I don't doubt that.
all right.
And guys, look at who all ran. I mean, we didn't have people standing in droves wanting these positions. Any of the elected official positions. And, you know, I think everybody around this table has a servant's heart. I truly do. But that goes so far. And, you know, I'm leaving, so I'm not leading this battle for me. I'm stating that there needs to be a restructuring on all of it. Because, in my opinion, you can't do this job with an off the street education. You can't. You can't do think about the complicated. I mean, complicated. Things that we've been working on, this abatement and this tax structure. You know I'm telling you the truth. It is extremely tough right now for all of it. And to give it the amount of time that it needs to be strongly thought about. I mean. It needs to be restructured. If anything is down. Structured, that does. You want me to go ahead with my budget?
Yeah.
Okay. Part-time clerical. Auditor has asked if I would we did a major cleanup, guys. We do have the transfer books finally are totally scanned. You can all go online now.
Wow.
You can access all of them. And,
Council minutes,
pardon,
council minutes.
council minutes. All of that is available online. Go to our website. And it's there, and that's, something knew I wanted to do in 2020. And hey, it got done. So, but we have other records that you wouldn't know what to do with if you hadn't been here forever, that need to be cleaned up. And so, we extended hours to 21 hours in that deputy line for that. That's in the part-time clerical line, excuse me, for that. And that's definitely not at a deputy wage whatsoever. Instruction and schooling, we had to increase that because auditor being a newly elected official has to go to additional training. The auditor stamps, and that's not postage stamps, that's under office supplies. These date stamps, file receipt, those have to be purchased, and so that's the increase in that. Postage, the budget's the same, office mailings are down significantly, but you've all heard that postage is going to $1.02 per letter in 2027. We have conserved greatly. We have really brought the budget down, but I do think we need at least $500 in that. Travel expense goes up again because of the new elected official. Legal notices, thank goodness we can put the additional appropriations online now, but we still have to publish the tax rates 3 times. The 100R, the LIT, the commissioner's sale, the treasurer's sale. And that's the best estimate that I could get. I believe it'll cost $3,265 for that. Professional services, that's Eck, Who's Your Business, Data Pit Stop. I anticipated that you were going to pass the wheel tax. There is a one-time fee of $6,000 that we can pay Data Pit Stop, and they will handle the surtax and the excise. And well worth the time, because as you learned today, that's going to be a monthly thing. It's going to be distributed monthly. All of that, and it's best to have that in place. If we can do that, it's not like a contract and it doesn't go. You don't have to renew it annually. That is the fee for it. So that's included in there. Software, that 2,427, it's actually the fee for Adobe and Screen Connect.
Does the pit stop need to be in place before we start collecting the wheel tax? Or could it be paid for by the wheel tax?
I think it needs to be in place before. I think if we start that procedure, we should.
Sorry.
Yeah. Then the Adobe and the Screen Connect, why we're able to use these down here and access our office almost, it's very invaluable. And then the Adobe, you all use Adobe, it's an atrocious fee, if you ask me. But that's what it costs. There's 1,500 in for book repair. Honestly, I don't think we will use that. But if we do, I wanted it in the budget. Because if for some reason that another book's torn up, that's what it costs. It's amazing what it costs. Dues for the Auditors Association. And then 500 for a lateral file cabinet. Questions?
Can you explain the part-time clerical again, Judy? Been so much higher.
It's 21 hours.
A week, so it's 42 bi-weekly.
It's something like $17 an hour.
With the 3%, yes. And then also, the intern, which is kind of a lower rate, but we were hoping to have a high school student.
Is that a rate that's already established in the,
No,
so that would have to be added to the salary ordinance if we
Kind
find the right
of.
person?
right.
Brooke's done something similar in the extension office. She's frozen it. I don't really know what her amount is.
It doesn't match that. I think ours is less than hers. We came up with like 1550 if there's a 3% increase. And then, we don't know what the school schedule will allow the student to work, so we just put in about 2 hours each day.
Do you want to do the council budget next 0061?
Your other stuff was more or less that new fund and
Find it. Well, I thought I wouldn't move,
because
get out of general fund was why I was,
we can.
and then move on. So
That's our last two options today before we kind of sum it up. In council, if you look at county council 0061. Salaries there, the placeholder for instruction and schooling, we usually take that money. For those attending the conference, we can take that out of the unappropriated claims. Line item that is for state called meetings. So we always use those dollars first before we use it here. There's a placeholder in here for legal, which we've had before that in case council needs separate counsel for any matter. Again, if we don't spend it, we don't use it. Travel expense, again, goes back to the instruction and schooling comments from above. The legal, did you have a rationale on that, Judy? I know there's $135.
that was an ad fee for. It was just something I put in there is more or less, honestly, it's placeholder to introduce the idea. We do the auditor has the legal fees coming, your legal fees come out of my budget.
Legal notices.
Yes,
For publications. That's like one advertisement, right?
right, we paid the waiver of non-compliance, that would have been, like a council
Yeah,
ordinance, and then the
add that to the invoice for error.
right. So there's, and it's just for in there, anything that, the wheel tax, certainly council. And we had that advertised a lot.
I'm saying, is that not enough?
No, it doesn't equal it. It's just honestly a token, to,
I'll put 500.
Put 500, that's what I was just saying.
but you guys, we have expenses. 500,
You're just trying to separate out of your department.
right?
Yeah.
Contracted services, that's what you said to put in for.
Yeah, now I did not get a new number from Greg and Charlie on contracted services, but we do know that with the must work this time, we potentially are gonna go over our 30K contract. And Charlie will probably charge us more for coming and staying all day with us today. But that's the placeholder for that. And I told Judy, I said, let's add 5 to that. Doesn't mean you can necessarily charge us that. But just as a placeholder, and then The professional services. St. Charlie's not professional,
And
it's just contracted.
it was other,
That's. Again, placeholder.
I think we've had that for a long time in there.
Yes.
But we've never used it.
Yeah. So that's our
Maybe
list.
take that professional services to 1,000 just as a placeholder and take 4 away. I mean. 2023, nothing, 2024, nothing, 2025, nothing, 2026, nothing.
my question, and I don't know, where would you have put that?
The only thing it does for us, Greg, is it allows us to trust ourselves on whether we spend it or not, and, you know, if we don't spend it, then we don't have, if we need it, we have to come in and ask for an additional, or whether we might do a transfer. So, I mean,
I don't care one way or the other.
yeah, we have to increase our legal to add another advertisement. But if it's a place to, if we're down to trying to make things balance, it's certainly a place. Okay. Okay. All right, and then. We,
105,
this was your new,
no, that's the professional services, that's Maximus. That's where this fund, it's actually funded by the Maximus, we get currently now about 34,000 a year for that contract. It pays the Maximus bill. Then that's where we'd like to use that SBS portal that I was telling you about, that's available for people online, like
is this
the,
technically under commissioners, am I reading that right?
no. Total commissioners,
Yeah,
that's the fund
That's above
above
it.
that.
okay, so this is not under that, okay,
And then,
this is. What fund is this?
it's general,
General fund.
Professionals, location 105 is under you,
that's where it's been
okay,
for, ever since we've been putting it
I don't doubt
in
you,
the
I just
budget, yeah,
thought there was another
no,
name for it here,
Indirect costs.
it's indirect cost.
that's what I was thinking of.
So the portal fees under there, that's like SBS, when anytime they have a portal, it's 4,200, like the one Alan was telling you about.
Mhm.
And then the WTH mapping is under that, the 9,000. The assist that you approved last year for splits and so on. We're gonna be using more of that now, that's for sure with Nancy out, because none of us have mapping skills. WTH does not. We intended fully to double train on that, and WTH did not want that done.
So now we have to hire them.
Yeah, well, and we have that contract, you know, we've had that. I hope it stays that, the equipment and records. Yeah, probably take that out. We decided we could probably take that out. And do it with that. Let that 6,000 that we were talking about for data pit stop, you know, stand on that. If you're in agreement with that.
So reduce the contracted services by 5,000.
Equipment and records.
Equipment and records. Is that all right?
Yeah. Again, it's under your control, so I mean, I trust you,
I
but
think
now I feel
we're
bad for
okay
not,
on
cut-
that.
now I feel bad for not taking ours.
Okay, and then you're down to the 1216. Back to company,
Your ineligible deductions.
right. Staff received
So
a
what, that still perplexes me. I don't know why that goes to its own fund. What, if it was an eligible deduction? That would have went to regular tax collections. Why doesn't it? When it's found, why is it just?
well,
regular
part of
tax
it does,
collection?
right, but it's fact that would never ever have been found. I don't know staff.
No, I understand
And
that.
as I said, I didn't know it existed. True Roll contacted us. And to no cost whatsoever to the county at the time because the fees were gonna be there. Why not try it? And so that's what we did. They gave us extremely high compliments. They said that, you know, a lot of times they put it out there and the county doesn't do any investigation. And we investigated what they had investigated, you know, to be certain. We didn't want to tell somebody, something that wasn't true and just take the word, but, like I said, we brought in about $12,000. And with it, paid approximately a fourth of it to True Roll for their services. And, then the rest of the money is available. We paid penalties, part of it goes to the state that we collect.
So just to walk me through that, so True Roll sees, or they search
They've got a big
our taxpayer
database.
database
Right.
and see something, oh, this guy's claiming two different homesteads. And then
They let us
they let you know, and then you investigate it.
look at it to be sure, see if there's been an error or, you know, something just hasn't been put in. Look at it closely
Then
and
you
then we collect it.
call them, or it just goes on the tax bill, or?
Well,
or you
we
invoice them?
send letters and we talk to the person, yes, when possible. I don't know honestly,
And
how,
if someone then responds and pays that bill, this is the fund it goes into.
right. And then it goes, like I said, state gets portion. All the above,
Just the same thing as when an individual dies and then you send a letter out.
like that, yes. Only we don't get the money with the individual
Okay.
dies.
Okay.
No.
They probably never opened the meeting.
No, that only happens when, you know, someone's been living there also, and some of those, you know, that whoever's living in that house doesn't deserve. So, various things like that.
All right.
And then 1217, that's the, that's the training, the officials, elected officials training fund. And we have never budgeted that before. We've used it in this, we're simply being advised that it needs to be budgeted.
That's the one I was talking about,
Yes,
but now it needs to have a appropriation.
right. And it's just being budgeted because we were asked to budget it. And that's just a stab in the dark as to what we may or may not spend.
All right. Well, that gets us through our list for today. Charlie, while we have you. Your thoughts, your takeaways, but then I thought you might just scan through this tomorrow's agenda on thoughts or things when you're not here with us that we might want to consider. Not to put you on the spot, right?
think one fund that we're seeing in a lot of counties is the health department, but we're not getting as much money from the state. Yeah, so that's one, don't know how it looks so far this year, but we're still good. Okay, so that's good. And then the park and rec fund, that's unusual for a county to have one of your size, park and rec fund, but that also seems to do very well, but they bring a lot of revenue in, so. I think that's. Yeah.
You do Martin County, right?
Yes.
So do you do West Boggs or is that, and I know that's a joint Davies Martin, I didn't. know-
Davies handles. it.
Davies handles, so you don't see
We
that.
don't see. it.
Okay.
And then the big question is on the Musk group. Does anybody have anything that you want to ask a question on before Friday, or are we okay on that?
You will be here, or Greg will be here. So they've worked to put together an agenda. Junior and I went through that multiple times. We went back and forth on the questionnaires that went out to the individual taxing units, municipal units. The townships, the school, the library, they're all invited to come and be observers, though they're not necessarily participants. And of course, it is a public meeting and will be streamed. But you and I were talking about this over lunch a little bit, the thought of we're not in a bad spot, at least compared to other counties.
Right, and big reason is that you only have ed and public safety income taxes currently, so those are the easiest to replace because there's only cities and towns in the county that gets those, so the majority of counties in the state also give some income tax to townships currently, libraries get some, even schools get some, so when you have all those factors in play, the Musk group is a much more complicated situation. But I think overall, we want to replace the income tax that we're getting now. That's kind of a threshold, I think, of the way we're looking at it. And then the second thing is, do we want to try to pick up to replace circuit breaker loss that we're having? So that's kind of the second question. Do we want that income tax to replace property taxes that we're losing? And the Musk group is just to get everybody to discuss it. It's not binding. It's just a report that we're gonna send to the state. A lot of counties are coming back and saying the current law doesn't fit what we want to do. We want to do an option that's more like what we have now. So that's gonna be something that the legislature has to deal with. They're gonna make changes and maybe they change some of those options so we can get back to that. But does that makes sense that since you only have small towns here, if you had somebody over 3,500, they could do their own income tax rate under the new law. You don't have that here, so again, that makes it even more simple to handle because that's not an option. So the county council will control all of those future income tax rates, just like you do now. So whatever you decide to do, it'll be up to the council to make that decision on the rates and how the money is shared.
I think one of the first questions we have with Must is can everyone be made whole? And if so, to where they have a revenue neutral, to where they potentially are getting the same level of total revenue they're getting now. And if so, what does our tax rate look like to do that?
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's the baseline, and then you start having these conversations about does it work or doesn't it work, or is this an unrealistic expectation
Right. And
for our taxpayers?
And the other thing that's happening kind of simultaneously is a review of all the townships. And so before the end of the year, DLGF is gonna come back and say, this township should consolidate, it shouldn't be in place anymore. And I would guess that you'll have a few here in the county, and so. And then the next step is how do we fund fire and investment? Well, that's the biggest change that people are grappling with, but here, you're already funding EMS with income tax. And you've already decided to fund some of the volunteer fire departments with income tax. So you're kind of in that step ahead of a lot of people because you've been a little more proactive with how you share that income tax.
And a very good point on the fire. And Chris, feel free to chime in here. It doesn't affect you guys probably as much as it affects Petersburg and some, and maybe Patoka. But you deal with these guys every day. I'm not as involved as I used to be by far. The interesting thing is, we know that some of these townships that are likely going to be forced to consolidate, Clay, Madison, Logan, are not paying anything for fire. They're paying, somewhere between $2,000 and $5,000 a year. Jeff, you know this, you were on the territory board there for a while. And if commissioners are put in a place where they have to put a plan in place to consolidate these counties, it's going to be really interesting. It's you'll have winners and losers, right? And we have that now. It's just that it's never been at the county level to control it. It's always been at the township level to control it. So is it fair that a taxpayer in Marion Township or Patoka or Monroe Township pays a rate for fire, and a taxpayer over, one of the rural districts, not that we're not all rural, but the more remote districts or townships aren't paying anything? So, I mean, I think there's gonna have to be some conversations about how that fire rates applied, if there's some uniformity there or something's gonna be part of that restructuring is gonna have to play into that question.
And the big change on that is now the county council is gonna control the funding mechanism
Right.
potentially. So that you've got the stick to make them consolidate, or, you've got a stronger position to do that if you choose to.
One question that I had, nobody seems to know the answer. As a fire district, we have 2 townships in that district. If one of those 2 townships is required to dissolve, is our fire district still able to stand alone by itself, or is it not applied?
Yeah, so the main distinction is it a district or is it a territory?
District.
District should still stand. If it's a territory, that is just like an interlocal agreement with 2 or more units. So if one of the units goes away, the territory could have a problem because it has to be more than one entity. A district is its own taxing district. So it operates, and it would continue to have that same geography that it has currently.
And those geographic designations of townships remain. It's just a question of whether the administration.
Well, it just depends. I don't, yeah. I think that's current, the way we see it, but that might change.
That's
too.
potentially
Yeah.
change as well.
So the township maps completely need to be drawn.
They could be, they could be, we've seen some proposals where there's only one for a county, or maybe 2, there's an east township and a west. So that it could be totally drawn. Yeah.
I was just under the assumption you might have a trustee and a board that covers these 3 geographic townships.
Those township boundaries could go away if they're consolidated.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You just thought you were done with Platters.
Oh, my word.
That's a whole new world now.
Oh, my word.
To bring east side and west side of county, or north and south.
Yeah.
In the scheme of things of Senate Bill 1, the losers seem to me, without question, to be the libraries, schools, and the schools. Right.
Right, now, so on that,
Is it appropriate to include them in some income tax?
I think that's one thing you have to consider. So, with libraries, there is a rate in Senate Bill 1 for them. If you choose to enact an income tax, you can do 0.05.
Like we do the fire.
Same with the fire, so that's their, schools do not have that.
Is it,
There's-
is it that set rate or is
It's
it
up
up to
to
there?
Up to 2.05. So like the library director, when she was here. It seems like she's got a great cash balance and she's managing that. Right now, you probably don't need to. Give a income tax rate to the library at this point, based on what she said. Now, in the future, that might change if we really get the circuit breaker that was projected. The difference is right now, Pike County is the outlier that you don't have those increased circuit breakers yet, knock on wood, because you've had that growth in AV. And so we benefited from that. The school though, right now, under the current law, the only way to do it would be for an interlocal between the county. You can give part of your income tax to the school. So there's possibly a way to do that, but there's not a separate rate for schools yet.
Is that it? Our county's doing that interlocal?
There's discussion about that. There is discussion about that. So all this would come into
It'll be
play.
hard to give up that revenue.
Well, but you control the rate, so you could
Well,
raise the
yeah, you
rate.
raise the rate and give.
But then you've got the fallout from the taxpayer of, okay, you raise my rate, but maybe that's a good reason to raise it. Help the schools because, and there is a push from the school association to try to get an income tax rate for the schools just for that reason. So it would not be surprising if they, we've got at least 2 more sessions before this becomes effective, so.
Well, the governor made a comment about reassessing the school situation and trying to make them right.
There's only
And
some,
sometimes sometimes when they go to fix what they messed up, it's even, they bring something up, yes.
and so, the state has a surplus right now and that's touted and it's correct, but the more we use for roads that we, the surplus. we need.
We got a surplus. Depends on how long we go without the gas tax.
Yeah, and that's where schools, all the operating costs really come out of, teacher salaries at least come from the state, the sales tax.
Absolutely.
Any questions for Charlie? So let's look at tomorrow's calendar where, start at 8:30 with surveyor, clerk court, probation, assessor, health department, reporter. Morning break followed by coroner, veterans officer, prosecutor, extension. And we do have a lunch break scheduled in Parks and Rec after that. Maybe we can go straight.
Maybe.
Might be able to go straight through, just get it done before lunch.
Do you intend to go over the rest of the general fund stuff?
The commissioner stuff, I'll have those notes with me tomorrow.
Okay.
And we'll either look to wedge it in there, or if we get ahead of schedule, or we'll do it at the end.
Well, we have a tendency to get ahead on some of these single offices. So that would be a whole part of that.
Anybody have anything before we recess till tomorrow? Okay, I don't think we need a motion to recess. We'll just declare it. Chair declares it recessed and we will pick it up here in the morning.
You just leave me here.
I would think so. I mean, did everybody get all your signatures from the morning meeting? Everybody good there?